22 is here. People, it's time to win again.
This is the time for us to draft until we draft. That must be our slogan and rallying cry now. And along the way, we should be asking ourselves some critical questions.
Are we still enjoying 3 square meals a day? While our boys on the ground lack the basic gear they need to resist the occupiers?
Are we still living a life of luxury and comfort? While our brave restoration forces lack medical supplies at the home front?
Are we still throwing big birthday bashes while our restoration forces lack basic communication equipment to maximize their efforts?
Are we still going on
The Amber War Draft Award 22 is here. People, it's time to win again.
This is the time for us to draft until we draft. That must be our slogan and rallying cry now. And along the way, we should be asking ourselves some critical questions.
Are we still enjoying 3 square meals a day? While our boys on the ground lack the basic gear they need to resist the occupiers?
Are we still living a life of luxury and comfort? While our brave restoration forces lack medical supplies at the home front?
Are we still throwing big birthday bashes while our restoration forces lack basic communication equipment to maximize their efforts?
Are we still going on cruises and expensive vacations while our IDFs on the ground go without food and logistics?
Are we still finding excuses not to make the necessary sacrifices and drafting big while our restoration forces lack the game-changing equipment that they so desperately need to bleed the enemy?
On a daily basis, how much are we putting aside for our liberation, knowing that only through the fierce resistance are we going to liberate our beloved country?
Are we providing the federal government and the CIC the means to carry out some of the critical, intelligence and other special operations across the national territory?
As we ponder these questions, we must remember that a goal that is not funded is nothing but a wish. And we must not let Amazonia die as a wish, because we failed to fulfill our patriotic duties by making the great sacrifices befitting a great people.
The War Draft once more is coming to your county. Stand up and be counted. No greater victory was ever achieved than by greater sacrifices. We are enough, so let's draft, and draft until we drop. Our existence as a people depends on that.
It is Award 22. Let us draft until we drop.
Thank you, great people of Mezam. Thank you, Ambazonians. Let me begin by acknowledging my friend and brother, the Vice President of Ambazonia, my indefatigable Eric Ade, the Speaker of the Interim House of Representatives, Dr. Winnie Lobati, the following trusted associates of mine in central administration from this great county of Mezam are worthy of mention. Dr. Tita Emmanuel, SOS for Health and Social Services. Dr. Abiedu Patience, SOS for Women Services. Mr. Steve Nebafu, SOS for Home Affairs and Community Mobilization. Mr. Kemche Joseph, SOS for Finance and Resource Mobilization. Maamanka Fokwa, Vice Chair of the Presidential Advisory Council. Mr. Blasius Awonsam, Secretary of the SIA DSS. Mr. Zama Sylvester, Secretary of SOP DSS. Barrister Frujon So, Ambazonia State Attorney. Mr. Muma Brown, Ambassador to Asia. The Chief of the Red Feathers. All other comrades from Mezam assisting as ambassadors, country and regional coordinator, or directors at the presidency. County and local government executives, Mezam County Coordinator and Bafut Local Government Chair, Mr. Teofusi, the County Defense Chief, Comrade Wilson, Balinyonga LGA Chair, Mr. Wilson Tita, Ba Mendankwe LGA Chair, Mr. Philip Tala, Mankon Bachongwa LGA Chair Lady and Ma Gilda Tung, Nkwenza LGA Chair, Dr. Marcellus Atanga, and I wish you a quick recovery. Santa LGA Chair, Mr. Prince Chinje, Tuba LGA Chair, Mr. Constantine Yonde, representatives in the IHR, Bafut LGA Representative Honorable Maggie Alice, Balinyonga LGA Rep Honorable Richard Gamboga, Mendankwe LGA Rep Honorable Clement Asongwe, Mankon Bachomba LGA Representative Honorable Dr. Charles Ade, Kwenza LGA Representative Honorable Pastor James Tita, Santa LGA Representative Constance Achu, Tuba LGA Representative the Honorable Tim Timzo, the board chair of our national treasury structures, Victorine Yanni, and the Wounded Warrior Project Director, Magodi I. You now understand why in the good year or a good year like this one, the rain should start falling in Bamenda. Please, Mezamites, if this struggle is likened to a huge burden, the IG is rolling up a steep mountain. Just imagine how many hands from Mezam are on board with me to do the heavy lifting. If you should turn your back on this struggle, it shall be very difficult for the rest of Ambazonia. So thank you, Mezam. Thank you for your support. My dear people of Mezam, fellow Ambazonians, here we are today in the great county of Mezam to kickstart the county rounds for Award 22 after the successful national launch that took place on the 4th of June 2022. It is only befitting for us to start this special event by reflecting on the over 45,000 Ambazonians that have been slaughtered by the ruthless genocidal regime in Yaoundé. I pay special homage to all our innocent thousands, including babies and women, who have been brutally butchered by the genocidal regime of Paul Biya. I pay utmost respect to our valiant vanguards, our heroes who have fallen since the launching of the armed struggle, who were killed while trying to protect their people and defend our God-given land. This is the true spirit of our anthem, which says, "We pledge our loyalty to those that bought the land with their blood. We and generations to come will forever be grateful for your sacrifices." A moment of silence in honor of this. The blood you shed for our freedom will always count as the full price of the unconditional independence of Ambazonia. Fellow Ambazonians, here is Bamenda in the great Mezam County. No one can be in this county and not feel at home. Your hospitality and generosity are boundless. My communion with you today for this special patriotic duty we are gathered here to perform is unique. I have often described this county as the epicenter of our resistance movement. It is a common saying in Ambazonia that once Bamenda has decided, there's no turning back. Your revolutionary spirit is the reason why the enemy has come a long way to fear our collective resolve. You are a people whose resilience is relentless, whose determination is ferocious, and who put their money where their mouth is. I say this with empirical evidence from the history of our liberation to the recent numbers of our last two consecutive drafts. Your works stand out as a monument for generations hereafter to attest. I am confident today that as we accomplish this revolutionary task, you will do so with a greater sense of duty, knowing that the success of our endeavor hangs desperately on the sacrifices of those who still have their hands on the plow, not on the whims of those who have now joined the queues of deception, the bench of spectators, or the circles of vain talkers. Fellow comrades, the 1994 Bamenda Proclamation of AAC2 was the last option we gave the enemy to make right the wrongs of the 60s, or else the zero option will be inevitable. The endurance and patience of our forebears were looked upon by the enemy as a collective weakness, while they plundered our resources and subjugated us at the same time. Little did they know that our patience was not so elastic, that a Joshua generation will rise one day to take up the lead of our liberation charge based on the zero option. We are that Joshua generation, and we will settle at nothing short of a free homeland, Ambazonia. Remember, our sacrifice in this liberation struggle is only second to those in the home front, facing the music of bullets, especially our Ambazonia Restoration Forces, not forgetting our refugees and IDPs and prisoners in dire conditions who are hoping and praying that we fight even harder to free homeland sooner than later so they can go home alive. As patriotic and responsible citizens of Ambazonia, our financial commitment to this sacrificial endeavor while enjoying the relative safety abroad is just the minimum we can do to free our people from this 61-year-old annexation. They cannot bear the brunt and pay the tabs. The draft is the partnership obligation by the diaspora towards the home front. There's no turning back until we reach Buea. Now, permit me, on another note, to read out a poem I wrote yesterday as a tribute to whom I call Le Français. They targeted Le Français to stop this train, to size down Dr. Sako or switch off the blade of our jet engine, the interim government. He was targeted from day one. Twice I tried in vain to arrest the deadly waves, but the wind had him at loggerheads with the rocks, jeopardized his revolutionary survival. And towards the other end of the tunnel, destiny helpers and many true friends he lost, was doubted by his true admirers, betrayed by handlers, and starved by deceivers. Rejected, dejected, and abandoned, he was trapped. Encouraged to reconcile with his shadows, but the heel of his enemies was bigger. Abandoned. We saw a shadow behind 33. Was that a tourist trap? But suddenly the cruel waves hit again. Or was it a nightmare? Because I don't know. But I could hear the wave crying, game over. I don't know. I almost said I know what happened next. But no. Or do you? Let me challenge those who plucked Le Fang or Le Français from our family tree with knives sharpened in Etodi. It seems like yesterday, though. Please tell us now that he is alive and well. Tell me, or why not? You met a man struggling with his kids, and you thought you loved his kids better, that you can do better for them. Now you realize you can't do shit to provide them with basic survival needs. No blankets to keep the chicken safe. Please, Le Français, where are you? And where are the 7 carted from Qatar? A friend of the wise shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. Aluta continua. Our valiant Ambazonia Restoration Forces, we have won the war. Though we may have lost some battles, if those 2 weeks set out by Dictator Biya to crush us when he declared war on us in November 2017 have dragged on for more than 5 years today, it is proof that they failed and we have prevailed. They have not crushed us, not because they changed their minds to do us good, but because they can't. Now their dream of crushing Ambazonia by the military option is more far-fetched than when they launched their war in 2017. And you ARFs, you put love for country first and refuse to be distracted by genocidal enablers, criminal politicians, or revolutionary scavengers whose goal is to keep us in perpetual slavery under Yaoundé. I salute you all, our valiant soldiers, especially our ARFs of Mezam, and I enjoin you to stay focused and united in your commitment to defend homeland. There is no bigger patriotic duty than putting your lives on the line for country. I salute you all and thank you for your selfless sacrifices to liberate Ambazonia. Talking about unity in the body of our revolution, no one has championed more meaningful collaborative efforts than yours truly since this liberation war started in 2017. First, it was the Ambazonia Self-Defense Council for all defense forces in Amazonia. Then the ARFs in all 13 counties. The Unity Conference of Washington in 2018. Southern Cameroon Leadership Council in 2019. ACT, Team for Negotiation. Can someone tell me what went wrong with these initiatives? I understand the importance of unity, or what I will prefer to call purposeful collaboration within our liberation movement. But let no one deceive you. Unity with those who are no longer fighting the enemy you are fighting is an act of surrender. Unity with your enemy disguised as a friend is suicide. Unity with those who imprison, disarm, and torture you to force you to join them or get killed is as dangerous as voluntarily handing your weapon to the enemy for your protection. Unity for the sake of unity is simply insanity. It is as stupid as a hungry lion calling for a gathering of all cats, and your pussycat also attends, expecting to be welcomed and protected. As guerrilla fighters, your survival is paramount. You cannot just collaborate, talk less of unite with people with a track record of betraying, terrorizing, and killing their own fellow comrades in arms. You collaborate only with one who can use his last bullet to defend you, if need be. One who can take a bullet for you. No one who will betray you, not one who will betray you or kill you for the highest bidder at every opportunity. In my recent visit to Ndian County during my county tour, I made it clear that the Ambazonia Restoration Forces, the ARF, which you are proudly part of in Mezam, is already a unity force. That we may know that we are ARFs united in Mezam. This draft is for all of you. I commend any collaboration with non-ARF forces fighting alongside ARFs to liberate homeland. However, this must be done purposefully and strategically, and that should require detailed consultation and vetting by our military intelligence unit. We know the mayhem that these random unity escapades have caused some of our devoted commanders and fighters, especially in Bui and here in Mezam. The briefings I get from some of the LGAs like Balinyonga and Bafut are disturbing and could have been avoided if our forces had not been infiltrated by the Unity Palace confusion. They united with the wrong people. Their hideouts and itineraries were exposed. Some got killed and others arrested and used as guides to track more. Dear comrades in arms, brave ARFs, by now you should have learned some lessons the hard way. Let unity not be like casting a fishing net into a river and collecting everything that comes up with the net. No, you should know better by now that your interim government is there for you and have your greatest interest at heart. That is why we are here again tonight to draft for you. We count on you. Ambazonians count on you. The enemy dreads your bravery. At the beginning of this war, you were just numbers determined compatriots struggling to grapple with what befell us. Today, you are not just numbers, but tested and experienced soldiers who understand the art of guerrilla warfare. You are masters of your terrain, causing sleepless nights to the genocidal enemy as you execute the sacred duty of defending homeland. I'm confident that if we do our best for you tonight and we draft generously, you have what it takes to get us better results as we tackle the final phase of this liberation struggle. You draw up the plan according to our National Strategic Security Plan, and I am confident you know how to or what to do. The draft tonight will go a long way to accelerate the continuous implementation of those strategies we have in place and the new ones in the pipeline. Let me emphasize once more that the purported attacks on French Cameroon civilians perpetrated by covert La République military agents are just decoys to attract sympathy from their local population over an increasingly unpopular war against innocent civilians in Amazonia. French Cameroon citizens are getting more and more disgusted by their military's despicable massacre of our people and the random killing of women and children just to manipulate international opinion against our liberation quest. Almost 5 years into this war, our war has not changed in character. We are defending ourselves and our territory against annexationists. Attacks on French Cameroon civilians anywhere do not serve our interests in any way or promote our territorial objectives. Any preemptive, targeted, incursive attacks on enemy territory east of the Mongo during this war cannot be aimed at French Cameroon civilians who are also victims of the French colonial stranglehold. Dear compatriots in the home front, my dear people of Bafut Bali, Mankom Bachongwa, Bamendankwe, Kwenza, Santa, Tuba LGS, make no mistake, as we continue to bleed the enemy in terms of casualties and escalate the economic costs of this war, they are now recycling the old colonial tactics of infiltrating our ranks and destabilizing us from within. Those who congregated to tear us down have already failed. You stood tall and mounted roadblocks to tell them that we own the land. When it was necessary for you to sacrifice some more in the home front, with extra lockdowns, you followed instructions from your interim government. Thank you. The enemy recruited some from amongst us, trumpeting lies and unfounded allegations, executed a coup d'etat against yours truly to manipulate some of the weak and underinformed amongst you. You overwhelmingly resisted their charlatanry. You refused to be bridled by these agents of La République handlers who were disguised as patriots and hid among us. They told you Sako is gone and that the draft is banned. Here we are today to let our actions speak louder than empty words, ready to proudly draft our substance towards those who have already drafted their lives for the cause. France and La République have not given up on trying to divide us. Their new hope is to do all to cut off the umbilical cord between you in the home front and the IG, also known as the diaspora, and arbitrarily they impose a leader on ground that La République can easily buy, intimidate, kill, or manipulate to end the struggle. Thank God for Bamenda. We are smarter than them. Dear financial warriors, let's draft as if this liberation war is starting today. The darkest part of the night is towards dawn. Despite the numerous distractions, let's remain focused. The stakes are high. Our ARFs of Mezam are watching and waiting for us. and relying almost entirely on what we will do tonight. Let's not fail them. Let's prepare and put the ball back in their court. We are continuously pushing the enemy La République to the wall with our collective resilience and raw determination. There is much more external pressure now on La République to heed the Swiss-led mediation than ever. That I am telling you. Even the French are timidly putting pressure behind the scenes. There are many signs announcing a new dawn in our struggle in the year ahead. So let's remain focused and steadfast in our task of drafting. Let us hit our foot on the gas and go even more aggressive against all enemy presence and positions in our territory. Let's use the next 1 year to clear out all remaining enemy posts in our territory. We know that the enemy La République desires to talk to us and not with us. So they are still aiming at winning the war before the talks. Let us answer them with our wallets waved high tonight. Give your $1,000 to tell La République and Macron, you are wasting your time. You cannot win Amazonia. $1,000 every year, draft year, is just our minimum patriotic commitment to this great cause. To those of you who can do more, this is just the minimum. I strongly urge you to do so. That's what I am doing this year. Let us draft, and most importantly, let's redeem our pledges as fast as possible in order to give our forces the capability and capacity to get us to the table, not to surrender, but to negotiate from a position of strength. Let the 2022 draft for Mezam County commence. Viva the great people of Mezam County. Viva our brave Amazonia Restoration Forces. And viva the Federal Republic of Amazonia. Thank you very much.
Praise the sun, our
Draft Award 22 is here. People, it's
Opinion.
time.
They have suffered cultural genocide for 6 long decades, but not in this age and not with undaunted ABC Amber News on board.
You must understand that wars are fought and won in the media. The speed of the revolution on Ambazonia's quest for freedom cannot be explained without highlighting the diligent use of the media.
Franco-Cameroon colonizers, among other strategic moves, weaponized the media against Ambazonia for so long, and they continue to do so even today. The question would be, how much do the oppressed people of Ambazonia need to counter the media rage?
Indeed, how much more is required to stop the genocide? The carnage in Ambazonia didn't start today. In 1961, 1972, 1984, and 1992, Ambazonians were slaughtered in huge numbers and help was not forthcoming. Why? Because the oppressor was the piper in the media.
The good news is we have what it takes to dictate the pace.
Right now, ABC Amber TV is taking advantage of the wonders of multimedia aggressively
To inform the misinformed and disinformed with undaunted and other revolutionary programs bringing it to the news untold stories.
Most importantly, to win the media war by taking ABC Amber TV into every multimedia platform.
In a word, where the importance of storytelling can never be overemphasized, Ambazonians has to tell her own story, not the other way round.
And like we say it always, Ambazonia must narrate her story accurately. We can do this together, you know, right? You are just a click away. Visit our website at www.abcambertv.com, and the steps are quite simple.
With just a click on the website, you can become a club member with so many benefits.
You can also make a one-time donation, advertise and showcase your goods and services at the marketplace on the website.
That was easy, right? You're welcome on board.
And thank you for opting for the winning team.
Fellow Ambazonians, the Ambazonian War Draft goes to Mezam County Saturday, July 16th at 7 p.m. Amber time.
Onang kung lo acho kwe roba music we bin yanda ko ko nzopo yendu club dance nzopo musi na ko club again now advance and so look upon drama over open call na Cameroon road 1 road 2 program ya yendu road dance gimmick that.
As we come together once more to rally our support towards the war effort by drafting ourselves, it must never escape us that we are the stakeholders of our revolution, that we stand to win this fight for the liberation of our homeland, Ambazonia, that as a great Mezam County, we have always given our all to make sure Ambazonia is free. As a call to duty, we call on all sons and daughters of Mezam County and all our fellow comrades from other counties to honor our fallen heroes by coming out and give their support to Mezam County. We do so because we are a determined people. We draft because we are all the custodians of our national pride and we hold high our Ambazonian flag. We draft because we say no to the continuous incursion into our territory by French Cameroon terrorist forces. We draft to send a powerful message to the Republic of Cameroon and the international community that enough is enough. Let's join our President, Dr. Samuel Ikomesako, this Saturday, July 16th at 7 p.m. Amber time for the Mezam County Ambazonia War Draft. See you all at the draft on Saturday. May God protect our Ambazonian Restoration Forces. God bless Mezam County. Long live the Federal Republic of Ambazonia.
Give me Easy. You the people should go to the Penguin some young long you know. Easy. The people should get a shampoo when you now I'm going to get in my I should get the money to the one down to I see people in your family. That's another. Love me, I love you. 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 Oh, go now, go now, go now, go now. Are you close now, Sikia? Will you close again now?
The Amber World Draft Award 22 is here. People, it's time to win again.
This is the time for us to draft until we draft. That must be our slogan and rallying cry now. And along the way, we should be asking ourselves some critical questions.
Are we still enjoying 3 square meals a day? While our boys on the ground lack the basic gear they need to resist the occupiers?
Are we still living a life of luxury and comfort? While our brave restoration forces lack medical supplies at the home front?
Are we still throwing big birthday bashes while our restoration forces lack basic communication equipment to maximize their efforts?
Are we still going on cruises and expensive vacations while our IDFs on the ground go without food and logistics?
Are we still finding excuses not to make the necessary sacrifices and drafting big while our restoration forces lack the game-changing equipment that they so desperately need to bleed the enemy?
On a daily basis, how much are we putting aside for our liberation, knowing that only through the fierce resistance are we going to liberate our beloved country?
Are we providing the federal government and the CIC the means to carry out some of the critical, intelligence and other special operations across the national territory?
As we ponder these questions, we must remember that a goal that is not funded is nothing but a wish. And we must not let Amazonia die as a wish, because we failed to fulfill our patriotic duties by making the great sacrifices befitting a great people.
The World Draft once more is coming to your county. Stand up and be counted. No greater victory was ever achieved than by greater sacrifices. We are enough, so let's draft, draft, and draft until we drop. Our existence as a people depend on that.
It is Award 22. Let us draft until we drop. Alright, so draft is finally here. From months we counted down to weeks, we counted down to days, we counted down to hours, and right about now we are counting down to minutes, and any moment from now we will be counting down in seconds. The stakeholders are already seated, waiting to do Mezam County proud. If you're just joining us for the first time, welcome to Undaunted ABC Amber TV. And of course, I am Onyi Opala. I have Stir Smart here with me.
Good evening, Onyi. The Mezam County draft we've been waiting for is here today. What do you think about the draft?
Yeah, I think that we have given enough publicity for the expectation. During the week, we were very strategic with our news content. During the week, we ensured we had Chia Fusi here, and he spoke at length at the expectations of today. We also have the Vice President, who is also a worthy Mezam County son. He was also here. We also had the chair for Bali as well. I mean, all of these were very strategic, and we must do our best. And, you know, like we have always said, even during the other news that we've had, you know, you should be able to do something that you will be proud of. The president of Ambazonia, His Excellency Dr. Samuel Ikomesako, is always saying that you should not keep on wishing. All right? Do not stop at wishing. You have to do something. Nothing is too small. Nothing is too small. And today we have a whole lot of persons that will be talking to us. We have coordinators and we have chairs of Mezam County as well that are ready to talk to us this evening. Of course, want to know their expectation, want to know the challenges that they face, want to know the amount that they are going to be challenging themselves, probably individually and otherwise. And so, right about now, it's time for us to meet our news coordinator and director, Mr. Tapadi King, as it takes us through the interview section with some of the county chairs and local government chairs as well. All right, Mr. Director, we can't hear you. Please, you may want to check your settings and your volume there. We can't hear you from here, Mr. Director.
Can you hear me now?
Okay. Now
Can you hear me now? My sound is okay now. Can you hear me?
yes.
All right, yeah. All right, go
Can
ahead.
you hear me now?
Very loud and clear, sir.
Good. Good evening once again, fellow Amazonians, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to all Mezamians. Good evening, Amazonians, home and abroad. Good evening. The D-Day is finally here. You've heard it all. Already rushing towards the Zoom link. They want to just give. They just want to make the difference. I also want to bring to your attention that you must have heard some of the news out there. We are avoiding to talk certain stories now, not because it is less important as a government to talk about these, is because for strategic purposes, Yaoundé did what they did at this time to demoralize the Amazonians. And perhaps I'll just, before I introduce Barrister Fru is here with me, Dr. Tita is here with me, uh, Mr. Ntum, all of the Mezam County. These are men who are here for us to have this discussion this evening. But before we get into that discussion, I just want to give a word of caution. For no day should any Amazonian be excited that any other Amazonian has been wasted, even if the person is an enabler. I know enablers are dangerous. You know, some consciously become enablers, some ignorantly become enablers. That's a story we're going to ponder on more next month. We're going to find out the individual. It was out of greed that he became what he became, and now he has become a victim of the same. Or is it because of diaspora warlords who mislead some on the ground and then their lives are wasted? When I heard the news, you know, I don't want to call the name. When I heard the news, I kept on praying. The fake news that somebody is not for the IG, you should not pray for the person to be wasted. These are valiant fighters. They took the responsibility. They picked up arms. Some of us in the diaspora are unable to give our dollar for our freedom. But these are people like the presidents that have drafted their lives. And we must honor them. I'm calling on everyone watching me right now to take a moment, a minute, for us to honor all our fallen heroes. Just a moment. Thank you.
Right, so we are taking a minute to honor all our fallen heroes. May the souls of the departed, may the souls of all that have fought this good fight, may they all rest in peace. Amen. All right, over to you, Mr. Paddy.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that. And thank you, all the panelists, the great sons of the soil, sons of Mezam, who are joining me this evening so that we can do the pre-draft show. As much as I can speak the vernacular of Mezam, I was born and raised in Bamenda, so at least I know Njula and Taanka. And Barrister Fru, I'll be starting with you, and you're from Bafut. Abela, you can bring Barrister Fru so that we can start this discussion right now. If Barrister Fru is there, just get him for me so that I can talk to him. Get the panelists ready so I can.
Yes. Yes, Paddy. I like
Yes,
to
thank
correct
you.
you. I was born and I am, well, I know I'm a Mancon man, not Bafut. But I heard
You're
you.
not from Bafut?
I heard you in Gilana.
Okay.
No, I'm Mancon.
Okay.
Now, so
Njulana.
Gilana.
Yes, I'm a Dr. Tika. Okay. Njula. Ojuna.
Yes,
Ojuna.
yes. Delano, Abong, I will answer you as you asked the question. I am a son of the soil, the son of Nkwen in Mezam.
Good.
Okay.
Born in the Bamenda General Hospital and grew up in the vicinity or areas of Nkwen Park, Sisiakwata, Bayele, Upper Bayele, and Lower Nkwen. So those areas I'm all familiar with. Those are the areas I grew up in. Yeah, so we are extremely,
So
extremely excited
we
to
were
be here
all
today,
born.
everybody.
Good. So the truth is, we were all born. You and I were born in Mezam. Okay, Comrade Tum, you're from Santa LG, if I'm not mistaken.
No,
I'm from
Mancon
Mancon Bachongwa LGA
From Makom
and
Bachongwa. So you are in Gemba.
Mancon
You're in
Bachongwa
Gemba.
and specifically from Chomba.
So I can comfortably say, as Osaka.
Yeah, Osake.
Osaka. Okay.
Ma abongom
So,
asichina.
okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not bad. My outfit is a special honor to the people of Mezam. My parents don't hail for Mezam, at least, but this is the outfit that the entire Cameroons, even the colonial Cameroon, is using to sell the story worldwide. The point is, we're going to have this program very briefly because the most important thing is the draft. But then I bring you men, sons of the soil, because you have a word of inspiration to give to the people as Zoom link. We're going to start sharing the Zoom link for those who do not have the Zoom link, so you can start logging in because the president will be there to speak to you any moment from now. But then don't call my phone now because I will not pick it up. Thank you. But then, Pastor Fro, I want to start with you. What is the preparedness of your card ahead of this draft for today?
Yes, I can proudly say Mezam people are ready for this great day. And I'm calling on all Mezam children, wherever they may be, to come on board because we are at the last fight. And we will need all the support we can get. We need everybody, every child of Mezam to draft and draft and draft and pay so that we can finish the job. We have been fighting for 5 years plus. We have come to almost the end of this fight. We cannot be seen to fall at the end. So I am calling on all our Mezam children. I am calling on all Ambazonians, both at home and abroad, especially in the diaspora. Come on board and draft so that we can finish this job and have our country. I know.
Thank you very much.
The enemy is desperate. The enemy is desperate. It's desperate. That's why they are committing atrocities using our people. They can no longer fight. They have no means to fight, but they are using our people to kill our people. So we have to finish this job this year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Antum, I'm coming to you. I understand that you're an official in your county. Can you just tell us with precision, at what level is your LGA? Thank you.
Thank you, Paddy. Our LGA is very, very motivated. We've been working on this for quite a while, and as Barrister Fru said, I'm calling him and say that we are midstream. We cannot abandon midstream. We never asked for this war. La République de Cameroon declared war on us. So if we abandon things midstream, where are we? Where do we go? And it is a battle that we must have to secure our country. And, all Mezamites and all Ambazonians have to support us in this fight so that we can secure our country and create a better future for our children. A lot of us are fighting now, not for ourselves, but we are fighting for future generations. We don't want that 60 years from now, people will be talking about this day and looking back at us with disdain that we never carried the fight to the end. We can stop midstream. We are inviting all Mezamites, especially those in the diaspora who are very comfortable in diaspora. There is absolutely no reason why you can take a stake in this fight. I mean, this fight has been going on for almost 5 years. This is not something new that we're going to be telling you about. So it is really, really important that we know that if we fail stream, the water is going to sweep us away. And we don't want that. Thank you, Paddy.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much. Dr. Sita, I'm sure you do not want to tell me just how your LGA is galvanizing big day. But also you are determined to come here. Perhaps a recap of what you for the previous draft. That could just inspire somebody to do because people just like to know that somebody's doing something before they get involved. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much again, Comrade Paddy, and the members of the ABC Amber TV team for hosting us today as representative from Mezam, here to talk about the Mezam draft that's coming up within the next couple of minutes. I greet you, my senior barrister, Fru, the firebrand of this revolution, and I have great respect and honor for my Uncle Sami, that's over there, Mr. Sam Doom. I am extremely excited to be on this panel today with you all. As you rightly said, Comrade Paddy, Mezam is the first county to be drafted in this year's Amber War draft, as we all know, it's very significant. I must say, Mezam is one of the most solid rocks in the foundation of the South Carolinians' plight or revolution, and we still remains there as that are committed and determined for us to have our freedom. Thanks to the great leadership of the president that we've seen for the 6 years, we have moved this revolution from 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 the very within us, from just at a level that it was talked about within us, to where it's being taught at the international level on a daily, almost on a daily basis. Yes, it's not where we would be, but we have done exceptionally great in making sure that we move this revolution, and we continue to do it thanks to the great leadership of the president. As we all know, this is not the first time we have, or this is not the first year that we are having this draft. As a matter of fact, it's supposed to be our third year that we've been drafting. And Mezam is coming this time as the first county to draft, which is very good. We are excited, like every other draft, excited because of the challenges they have been doing in the past. The colonial regime and of neighboring French Cameroon decided to pimp up their games and to make sure that they try to bring down this interim government. We've all seen the challenge that we've been facing in the struggle as far as the leadership is concerned. That's all thanks to the hard work of the colonial regime of neighboring French Cameroon. But we have stood tall, and we've shown the regime that we are exceptionally committed and determined for a free homeland. And that's what makes us extremely excited today. After all the ups and downs, after all the fights against the interim government or president, it was started initially against the president, Dr. Samuel Ikomesako, to a group of disgruntled Southern Cameroonians at the level of supposedly Team Act dismissing the government, or supposedly saying that they want to dismiss the interim government out of Team Act, of which they don't even have the power to do so. But we have overcome all of those challenges, and we are here today. We are here today to send a very strong message to the regime, in the colonial regime of neighboring French Cameroon. We will not give up. We shall not give up on this fight for our independence, for our full recognition as an independent state. Southern Cameroon has never been a part of French Cameroon, and we will never be a part of French Cameroon. That is very simple. We are committed, and this draft today, you will see the numbers. After all the ups and downs or the infighting, those that decided to pull out, I hope that all the Southern Cameroonians that for some reason or another found themselves to be attached to a group of those with individual agendas, a group of disgruntled that had their own individual agendas to accomplish. I hope they will come back, seeing everything that is unfolding out there. We are committed to free homeland, and to do so, this draft today is that opportunity for us to show the regime in neighboring French Cameroon that we, the people of Southern Cameroon, we, the people of, we will never give up. We will never give up. We will fight the regime of neighboring French Cameroon, and also fight those that they have infiltrated this struggle, and kick all of them out, and until we free homeland. Thank you, Comrade Paddy, once more again. I'm excited to be here, and I can't wait for us to get this drafting going. I know our council is ready. I know our LGAs are all ready. And let's continue and see how the day goes. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Tita, for that insightful there. I'm making sure for those who are watching us on the social media, on YouTube, on Facebook, and on the home and in the home front, there is a possibility for you to participate with the draft link. It's the same link you already know, the Zoom link, which we're going to have it on the scroller in a few minutes. The Zoom account ID is 93902989993. So that's the Zoom account number. There is a possibility for you to just go into the Zoom link right now, participate. Lots of things will be told what is happening. So now you have all the literature. What I want to talk about now is money. I know you're expected as an individual to drive $1,000. We're all going to react relatively. And there are people who do 2,000, 3,000, 5,000. Perhaps your fate this year, but is to do even 10,000. Why not? Let me know what is your this year. What have you done so far? And what did you do
Well,
during the previous two drafts? Go ahead.
Paddy, are you talking? Are you talking
I'm
to
talking
me?
to you, Barrister Fu. Yes, I'm talking to you.
Okay, listen. Before I talk about I want to leave two quotes. The first quote: "He who betrays his people has betrayed himself and his family. He will pay with himself and his family." Number two: "He who takes 5 francs, 5 francs from La République de Cameroon should know that it is occultic money, and all occultic money has a price." Having said that, Paddy, you asked me a question. I have drafted for 2020, 1,000, all to my LGA. I drafted 2021, 1,000, all to my LGA. I've drafted again this year 1,000 to my LGA, and I've paid. And another 1,000 for my childhood experience, which is Tico. I've drafted for Tico. I have not paid, but I'll be paying. So, Paddy, to answer your question, I have, you know that I've attended almost every draft, and every draft I chip in something. Throughout the 13 counties, I have attended all. The record is there. And I've chipped in something in all. The record is there. I have given my life right from ground zero. I don't know how I got here, but now that I'm here, I am doing my best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Barrister Fru, the firebrand, for that. You've just heard Barrister. You can imagine this is a man whose bones are already getting weak, his flesh is getting weak. He's taking a job, an extra job, just so he can draft. What does this tell us, especially those who are youth? You are still youthful. What does it do? It tells you the selflessness of these individuals. They are not drafting for themselves. They are drafting for us, for our progenies. It tells us that they are not thinking about themselves. They are thinking about you, our kids. So it is an apology if you are below and you're not drafting. History will have a record that you betrayed. I think that's the parable that Barrister Fru gave. Now I'm coming to Cobrentum. We understand that drafting is for your county primarily and also for every other county. We understand that you draft for your county and you draft for every other county. That's what we understand. So the question I want to ask now is this. Once you draft for your county this year, which is what's your project for other counties? And what will you encourage others to do for other counties?
Paddy, I don't know if I got you. You were breaking up. Are you asking me what what I intend to do for other counties. Is that the question?
Yes. You see, and other counties. It's like Barrister Fru wants to speak. Barrister Fru, you want to say something?
No, I just wanted to indicate that the draft first is for your LGA and for the nation. Everywhere that draft for the 13 counties, you are supposed to be present and support that in whatever means, even if it's just $10, it will go a long way to help that other county. But you must first draft in your LG with dollars minimum. That is what I was going to add, Paddy.
Paddy, can I come in now?
Yes, you can come in now.
Sure. Yeah. We draft for our counties because that is the groundwork starts from the county. It's the floor, but we're not limited to drafting only for our counties. I mean, we the ultimate goal is to draft for all of Ambazonia. If one is free and the other one is not free, then Ambazonia is not free. So the main goal is fund for Ambazonia. My wife and I have supported drafts from the various in Ambazonia. I may not have contributed to all of the counties, but I did support more than half of the counties. And I do remember that in the first draft that we had, I brought in some extra money from friends of mine that we contributed that contributed to support our cause. And for the last 3 drafts, my wife and I have drafted at least $2,000 each for our county, and that is just for Mezam County. But we have also contributed to other counties. So, as I said, it's important that we don't only stick to drafting for our county, but we support our other counties because the end game is to free Ambazonia and not to free a specific county. Paddy, I want to say something that a lot of us that people who sit and they think about La Republique, those who think that we can still have that we can still coexist with La Republique de Cameroon, I think they're in dreamland, because I was the first experiment of La Republique de Cameroon. I went to the bilingual school, which was created by Hijo at that time to bring the two Cameroons together. We were in Manawobe before we moved on to Boya. And the experiment was a big failure because we, the English speaking, were forced to learn French and take the French examinations. We had to take the BAPC. Francophones were never obligated to take the GCE. So, I mean, right from the beginning, this was an unequal adventure. So anybody who is dreaming that we can get back to La Republique and fix things is really in dreamland. And seeing all our people who have died during these 5 years, burning people in houses, I mean, shooting people and throwing them in rivers, kidnapping people and disappearing, killing old mothers, burning children. If this doesn't turn your stomach to come out and contribute to free us, I don't know what can. Thank you.
Yeah, that's quite great. I don't know where Dr. Tita is. Dr. Tita, I think down here we have to round this up really quickly so that we can all just be a part of the Zoom link. and I think this is quite instrumental and quite important. We should just be doing
Yes,
this
I'm here, Comrade Paddy.
to
I'm
make.
here, Comrade Paddy.
Yes, Dr. Tita, is like I want you to go into more specifics based on what you are doing as an individual, what you did, and that's what you were supposed to answer the first, what you did last 2020, 2021, and what you intend to do this year. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much again once more, Repadi, for that question. When you were asking me the question initially, we were getting the line was like breaking up, so I couldn't really hear the question correctly. But what I want to do is that because I'm not a member of the Department of Finance and Resource Mobilization, and because also I'm not an official of the county, I don't want to go specifically in giving exact numbers to the county, the exact numbers from Mezam. I think that question will be best for the county representative, of which, or the LGHS, they can give us the exact number. So that's why I probably stayed away from that question again. But yes, as far as the draft, ever since the draft started, Mezam have been doing a phenomenal job as far as finances is concerned, as far as contributing, not only at the level of the LGAs in Mezam, that's from say Bamendankwe LGA, Bali LGA, and Kwenza, Mankon Bachongwa, Tuba, Santa, at the level of these our LGs, but also at the level of the county in general. Let me not forget Bafut, please, Bafut LGA as well. So nobody comes after me for calling the LGs and not calling Bafut. So as we've been performing exceptionally great at the level of the individual LGA and also at the level of the county in raising funds for the LGAs and the county. But not only that, in providing funds also to other counties as well. I think Mezam tops like one of the high contributors in support of other counties as well. I think the other person that we say can come close to what Mezam has been doing is Momo. I must acknowledge the work of our great citizens from Momo as far as financial contribution and support is concerned to other counties and LG as well. But we all work together as a family, as a group, that is, as a people that are committed for a free and independent Southern Cameroons. And we will continue to do so. Let me check again on those numbers. As far as the draft for 2020 is concerned and 2021. Just give me a second here real quick. I need to verify that information to make sure that whatever I'm saying here is accurate. And I don't want to put out any that is not accurate. And Senior Barrister Fru and my uncle, Mr. Sam, please feel free to chip in here and make any corrections to make a mistake here, because mistake is very normal and it's human. We know that what we're doing now recently, like I said initially when I was first had to answer the initial questions, I stated clearly, I know the confusion that we had in the revolution, that we've had in the revolution.
Yeah, Dr. Tita, your mic is off. Your mic, there's something happening with your mic. Nobody can hear you. You have
Oh,
basically
I'm so
you have
sorry.
been talking to yourself.
I am
You have
so
been
sorry.
talking
At
to
what point did I
yourself.
stop?
Yeah, go ahead. You have spoken on yourself. You were trying to give some statistics. Maybe just cue yourself from there and go right ahead.
Oh
You
no,
were trying
I'm
to
so
give some
sorry. Yes,
statistics.
yes, I was trying to give the statistics for Mezam, what our draft was in say 2020, 2021, if I could have those numbers. But I can go from last year. Our draft for Mezam draft for 2021 last year was 325,570. That was what we had last year. Uh, and then before that, what was the year before that? I'm not sure if the year before that, that was 2020. Uh, yeah, 2021 was 325,570. That's 2021. 2020, we were at 420,000. So 2020, initially when the draft was launched, we were at 420,000, and last year we were at 325,000. Yes, if I'm not mistaken. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Can you still hear me, Comrade Paddy? Can you hear
I
me?
can hear you very loud. Yes, I
Okay,
can hear you
yeah.
very
So
loud and clear.
that's where we are. Yeah, so we were initially when the draft was launched, we were at 420,000, and last year we were at 325,000 last year. But what I want to say clearly here is that what we have seen, or because this is a struggle that we are all fighting for, and things are happening that we could not have determined or predicted some of these things, because we had individuals, we've all noticed that we had individuals in the struggle that have put their self-interest ahead of that of the Amazonian people. We have self-individual struggle that put their self-interest ahead of our suffering people on the ground that are being killed on a daily basis. These individuals have put their self-interest ahead of our people that are incarcerated. They are being detained illegally, both in at the home front or in the colonial prisons in neighboring French Cameroon. These individuals have put their self-interest ahead of our suffering people that are there in the refugee camps or living in the refugee communities in Nigeria or across Africa, Europe, Asia, and in the Americas. These individuals have put their self-interest ahead of that of the Amazonian people, and this is something that is unacceptable. Yes, we will continuously do everything we can, because the few of us, not even the few of us, all of us that are still standing strong in this interim government, we are committed. We will do everything we can to make sure that homeland is free in the soonest and the quickest time possible. Don't, please, I would really strongly encourage our people and to tell our people not to pay any attention to all the drama that is unfolding on the ground by La République du Cameroon and the enablers that are pushing out there on social media. That's a distraction. We don't need that in our struggle. We are focused, and that's why I tell you, we, the people of Mezam, we are focused to make sure that homeland is free in the quickest time possible. Thank you very much, Comrade Paddy.
Okay, Richard, we are on television. The draft. If you can join the draft, that would
Okay,
be good.
thank you very much, fellow Amazonians. Speaking right now, I am currently signed into the Zoom link. You have close to 100 Mezamians already locked in. In the next 12 minutes, we are rounding off this pre-show. We will not come live on Facebook and on YouTube until when the president starts addressing Mezam. We're going to be streaming at the home front. So we're calling on everyone in the diaspora. If you want to watch the program, you have to subscribe to ABC Amber TV, or you will have to join the Zoom to participate live. Thank you very much. I just want us to give, you've gone to a marketplace as a marketer, you're marketing a product, and you have to give that last word. That word, that is the last shot. That you want to take that last person along with you. Perhaps someone was still making up their minds. But let me just say something. There's a difference between those who have been paid by Cameroon or La République du Cameroon to distract us. When you see anybody who has a problem with the draft, know the person is not a draftee. Know that the person in the first place doesn't even donate. Just find out all of those, especially the trolls on Facebook. Just find out what they have drafted, or if you realize they have not drafted. So trying to sabotage the draft is an easy way for them to console themselves. They just want to be happy with the fact that they want to make it look bad, even when it's not bad. Even when it is the only thing that can protect the boys that are dying right now. They know it. They know that in the history of this nation, there's been nothing that has been like this. So, Mr. Fru, please, I'll cue in again with you to give that last word. And to Comrade
Mezam.
Yes,
okay.
The last word.
My last word is
if
that
you want to do it in the vernacular,
yes,
do in vernacular.
Okay. You mean we should do it in the vernacular? Buddy, are you?
Are
you? Is my? Am I being heard?
Very clear.
Am I on? Okay.
You're 100%
well, I will do it in
loud.
English. I will do it in English and in the vernacular.
That's good.
I'll start with the vernacular. Matong bo ma bang.
Perfect.
Bang nin bu manje. Bamba bitina la bukara. Bitina ju. Especially babitina la bukara. Abi yenga za kap. Na metin to win. And to win tie it miege. Bagana me. Para la azigana. Nkwe nju angon tuma kwenju. Nkwe nkoro daji. Nyetu nkomju uji. Ntiwu. Nkankala aje. I am saying that I'm calling on all children, both male and female, of Mezam, to draft, especially those in the diaspora, to draft and draft and draft, so that we can free our country, go home, clean our compounds, and settle and continue nation building. Secondly, my last word is that I think that Mezam. I believe that Mezam is going to go to 500,000 this year or more. 500,000 US dollars or more. I am very confident that that is what is going to happen because I know my Mezam brothers and sisters. They are dynamic Americans. And I also know Americans who are listening to me that they will come on board and support the Mezam County so that we can get to more than 1,000 or more. Thank you very much, buddy.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Barrister Fro, for that powerful one. Comrade Tum, before I make any comment, I would like you to take the floor. Comrade Tum, please.
Yes. Thank you, Patty. I think Barrister Fru has already said it in the language very well. It couldn't be more appropriate what he has said. So I'm gonna be late. I just wanted to speak to everybody, especially Mezamites, that this fight is our fight. We cannot hang around and wait for other people to fight this fight for us. And, those who are sidelines and waiting for that magic day that they're going to come, that they're going to hear the fight is almost being won, for them to come on board, it will be too late. It will be too late for them because we already know those who have been putting their little pennies for us to fight this fight. And if you are waiting at the last moment that you're going to come in and walk with us to Boya and You know, it is not gonna. It's that way. This is to show that you support our people. You support people who are dying, who have died, who have been imprisoned, who are loved. This is the time. This is the time. This is the time to Mezam and contribute. This is the time. Don't sit back. Now is the time. It's now and never. Now is the time. Come on board. Thank you.
Yes, Mezam County, now is the time, Dr. Tita. You have to be fervent and faithful to this show. I know you're trying to mobilize people to give to you in dollars. Barrister Fru has already set a bar, and he is saying that this year is going to be the year where Mezam alone will do $500,000 US. And that's a prophecy that I think is something for us to clap. That is a prophecy that I have chosen to take serious. I'm following that up with my prayers as well. And if you're watching, I say this to every youth. It is just shameful for you to think that you will not be a part. You understand? It's shameful for you not to participate. If you have a man who is close to 70, Barrister Fru, please bring Barrister Fru on the screen. I just want to use the youths who are nonchalant, the youths who are creating fake accounts to do the wrong things. Barrister, please. I want the people to be seeing you as I'm saying this. This is a man who has lived his life. He studied in the United States of America, passed the bar exam, which is one of the most competitive exams in America, practiced briefly as a lawyer in the United States of America, went back to Cameroon with one objective: to serve his people. After serving his people, fulfilling his life, he has succeeded in life. All his kids succeeded. He now thinks that his nation needs to be free. If I'm not mistaken, Barrister, you're at least close to 70 years old. Am I correct?
You're correct. You're correct.
He is fighting. It's an apology for you not to. I understand that one of the reasons you're even having a job is because you want to give for the struggle. You're trying to get a job now just to give, to help the movement. Wow.
I am working a menial job. I'm doing menial jobs so that I can help the cause, also feed myself. That's all. That is all. I've come to the end of my career.
I want Amazonians to realize that Barrister Fru is a first-class lawyer. The defendant or the chief defense attorney of President Sisiko Julius Ayuk Tabe. Barrister Fru could have just taken millions, hundreds of millions from Cameroon and go his way. Many have done so. Why do you think Agbobala is not being honest? I listened to his interview in South Africa the other day. His language has changed. The same Barrister Agbobala who stood on TV in 2017, 2016, and told Cameroon with straight words, now looks at our struggle and describes it with definitions that you don't even understand if you have to talk about our history. We talk and for Trump talk say it all leaks salt. It all leaks. Comrade Ntum, please, now I have time for talk country talk.
Barrister Fru already talking. Okay. Bertong mobama berna bitsam. Abon ngala ngibi yin ma an kaban an kwata wurna ana nungzi. ana nungzi yana ana nunga zerna berna tike nya tenga ngwadanga yin ntofu tofu yambo berna ne fotofa babe yine ne fotofa amanda berna kwanke marandon foto be berna sita tine mun berna mege fa abu ombo baby ne kong berna si fa abu ombo bo kin berna tina tuwon berna tina la azarna azan berna kwang be ne zarale so ngo ba ka ngiye yi ngebe yin ma aka ba ye abu kwata no anu mun kam ba ma ban ku songombo zge bange nto wi tange lung si ta te song ka ben be yen no se ba be be ngu enga mbongo ta to ka jeye brana jen ba ti no so ngun tsama yin ne yin man ka ba abrana tofi ngeta la azrna me ya
Yeah.
that's it. Thank you, Paddy.
You see, Barrister Fru, I would say that
Yes.
Tum beat you hands down because I could hear
Hands
some
down.
grammar
Hands
when he was
down.
speaking in Gemba.
Hands down. Hands down.
Now he gives it with no grammar. Dr.
No,
Tita.
no, no, no grammar.
Dr. Tita, the mic is
Thank
yours.
you, thank you very much, Comrade Paddy. I know you're not going to put me to the same test that you've just going to put our senior comrades through. But I would like to talk in that same line that you were talking about. The sacrifices that we all have to make. The sacrifices that the youth of today have to make a free and independent Southern Cameroons. The Southern Cameroonians' plight did not start in 2016. It's been there in the days of our parents and grandparents. Now, God has given us that opportunity in the hands of the youth, the technological age people, to grab this and push it to the end. We, the committed youth, it's a sacrifice that we all have to make. I promise you that if we all, like we are doing, come together, and if the enablers, the infiltrators, the Southern Cameroonians that have our name and that live in our territory, that are working for the colonial regime in neighboring French Cameroon, if all could let go that colonial regime and let's get together, this fight will be done will succeed in no time. It's because individuals have self-interest, individuals that have not succeeded in the diaspora to use the revolution as their source of success. They want to make money off the revolution. Individuals in ground zero that have not succeeded wants to use that to work for the regime in order to make money for themselves, instead for us to fight together for our common good. I'm pleading to every Southern Cameroonian on the ground in the diaspora. This is our time. This is our time to free homeland. Let's not fail. Our ancestors are watching us. They're seeing the opportunities that we have today that they never had in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s, and the early 90s to free homeland. This 2022, we have an opportunity of a lifetime, better than we had in 2016. Let's use it. Let's come together. Let's stay away from distraction. Our enemy, La République du Cameroon, will continue to fight to infiltrate us, will continue to propagate false information. They're acting drama right now on the ground. Don't pay them any attention. We are focused. We are here today for Mezam. The president will be addressing all of us very soon. We will win this war, whether La République it or not. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You see, this picking the money for the colon lost country them. Now only grammar they sabi talk. When I bear with Dr. Tita.
Not
I
true.
hope you don't want to put me in that test. I'm not from Mezam. I'm not in Gemba. When the day you get to my county, at least I've been able to articulate some things in in Dengemba, and Dr. Tita has just made a flop of himself today. He has not altered one thing, even from his LGA. In fact, will handle that. For that reason, I'm going to send in a motion. The Mezam County will have to make sure he increases what. Dr. Tita is also one of those exceptional givers. He's one of those who are giving. I'm looking at a Zoom link right now. You have Ambazonians are there above 100 already. We have many watching on Facebook and on YouTube. We're going to stop this stream in the next 15 minutes so that you will go to the Zoom. If you're at the home front, you will watch it live. If you're in the diaspora and you want to watch it without being a part of the Zoom, you have to subscribe on ABC Amber TV website. Everyone in the diaspora, you can only participate in the Zoom or you watch it from the home front. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for opting to be a part of this. Right after this break, the break of our promo for this draft, right after the break, I'll be back to conclude. Stay tuned.
The Amber World Draft Award 22 is here. People, it's time to win again.
This is the time for us to draft until we draft. That must be our slogan and rallying cry now. And along the way, we should be asking ourselves some critical questions.
Are we still enjoying 3 square meals a day? While our boys on the ground lack the basic gear they need to resist the occupiers?
Are we still living a life of luxury and comfort? While our brave restoration forces lack medical supplies at the home front?
Are we still throwing big birthday bashes while our restoration forces lack basic communication equipment to maximize their efforts?
Are we still going on cruises and expensive vacations while our IDFs on the ground go without food and logistics?
Are we still finding excuses not to make the necessary sacrifices and drafting big while our restoration forces lack the game-changing equipment that they so desperately need to bleed the enemy?
On a daily basis, how much are we putting aside for our liberation, knowing that only through the fierce resistance are we going to liberate our beloved country?
Are we providing the federal government and the CIC the means to carry out some of the critical, intelligence and other special operations across the national territory?
As we ponder these questions, we must remember that a goal that is not funded is nothing but a wish. And we must not let Amazonia die as a wish, because we failed to fulfill our patriotic duties by making the great sacrifices befitting a great people.
The World Draft once more is coming to your county. Stand up and be counted. No greater victory was ever achieved than by greater sacrifices. We are enough, so let's draft, and draft until we drop. Our existence as a people depend on that.
It is Award 22. Let us draft until we drop.
It is Award 22. Let us draft, and draft until we drop. If there is any reason why you must draft, you've seen the way enablers and forces of occupation, the colonial administration and government are exercising excitement after one of ours' death. The reason why we must draft is because Cameroon has shown beyond every reasonable doubt that they are disinclined to any sane way to end this madness. The reason why we must draft is because if we do not draft, we will be annihilated. I was listening to some of our women yesterday. They said the word genocide should be redefined to the Amazonian struggle. It is a master calculation to erase us from this planet Earth or take us by force. Someone made a comment on Facebook early this morning. It gave me a revelation. He said in Boya today, you see many more people speaking French. Do you know why? I'll tell you something. There are two reasons. Number one, they are trying to replace us with themselves. Number two, they have taught some of our brothers and sisters that English language or what we are is inferior and what they are is superior. I have my friends in Boya until today. They have in their mindset, if they do not sing a song and put French, then they are inferior. We've got to, because as people under this world, as a people of God, as a people of own integrity, we have a right to exist. God, even God, is not a dictator. God says, I've given to you life and death, but I advise you to choose death. Yes, if God can give us as a people the right to choose, no man born of woman will stop us from our right to self-determination. Our right to self-determination is that we, the land of Amazonia, and we will get it peacefully. On that note, I'm calling on you. If you're provoked by our fighters that have been wasted, if you're provoked by the things that have happened, the only way to exhibit your provocation or to respond is to double, triple, quadruple, and why not hexagon your draft? That's the only way. Example your draft. If you can triple it, if you can multiply it by 20, just go right ahead and draft. Right now, the stream on Facebook is officially stopped. We will come back live on Facebook and on YouTube when the president will be addressing the nation. Good night and bye-bye.
Draft Award 22 is here. People, it's time to win again.
This is the time for us to draft until we draft. That must be our slogan and rallying cry now. And along the way, we should be asking ourselves some critical questions.
Are we still enjoying 3 square meals a day? While our boys on the ground lack the basic gear they need to resist the occupiers?
Are we still living a life of luxury and comfort? While our brave restoration forces lack medical supplies at the home front?
Are we still throwing big birthday bashes while our restoration forces lack basic communication equipment to maximize their efforts?
Are we still going on cruises and expensive vacations while our IDFs on the ground go without food and logistics?
Are we still finding excuses not to make the necessary sacrifices and drafting big while our restoration forces lack the game-changing equipment that they so desperately need to bleed the enemy?
On a daily basis, how much are we putting aside for our liberation, knowing that only through the fierce resistance are we going to liberate our beloved country?
Are we providing the federal government and the CIC the means to carry out some of the critical, intelligence and other special operations across the national territory?
As we ponder these questions, we must remember that a goal that is not funded is nothing but a wish. And we must not let Amazonia die as a wish because we failed to fulfill our patriotic duties by making the great sacrifices befitting a great people.
The war draft once more is coming to your county. Stand up and be counted. No greater victory was ever achieved than by greater sacrifices. We are enough, so let's draft, and draft until we drop. Our existence as a people depend on that.
It is Award 22. Let us draft until we drop.
Agency to serve as a moral compass for your department.
Amazonians, you need to know your rights by reading the Ethics Code and the Constitution.
Shame unethical behavior and reward good behavior in your communities. Hold leaders accountable. Be the watchdog of your communities and governments. See something, say something.
The church, you are the main research center of moral principles with the responsibility of moralizing the society. How effective are you outside the church building?
Maya Angelou said, when you know better, then you do better. Amazonians watch ethics for an emerging Amazonia every Friday at 10 p.m. Amber time.
Exclusively on ABC Amber TV. Stay tuned.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ABC Amber TV. This is your favorite program, Ethics Commission for a Developing Nation. And tonight we have the ethics for the Department of Women Services. And with this, we are going to go ahead and come on with the what is actually needed for now. And so we are expecting that you are there and ready as we bring in the people and the Department of Women that is involved and in charge of our ethics for today. Well, in the next few seconds, you will be receiving these beautiful Amazonians who have sold themselves for the program that we are having right now. And so, for now, let's go. Amazonians who have sold themselves that we are having. All right. Like I said, welcome to the program. We want to welcome Ma Rachel. We want to welcome Ma Rachel. We want to welcome Ma Patience into this very important and one of the aspects that has beaten every other revolution that has ever taken place in the world in the terms of ethics being set up in our revolution during war. No nation has ever had this kind of a program. And so, Ma Rachel, welcome to Ethics Commission Ethics for an Emerging Nation. Can you just say a word to the people of Amazonia before we go on?
Thank you, our able Pastor Commando. Thank you for having us here at at this on this program. I'm just so
The
overwhelmed
door is open now.
that
The door is open.
finally the turn of the Women's Department, the Federal Republic of Amazonia, has arrived to share this wonderful platform on ethics for an emerging nation. I greet every Amazonian out there, all over the world, from Africa ground to all over the west coast of Africa, those in Asia, in the Middle East, in Europe, in the Americas. I am just pleased to be here as a woman that we could really see and listen what the women would be in Amazonia, what could contribute, and how much their presence will make Amazonia that we are presently fighting to put in place, what impact they will create in the 55th nation of the world. Thank you, Pastor Commando, for having me. Thank you, the team in the Ethics Commission, for having this wonderful program, and ABC technical crew. Thank you for making it possible as well. I hope to share a wonderful evening with you all. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Mape. That's Marichelle. All right. I got confused with the two of you, because yeah, but I know your faces, but I got confused with your names. And I think ethics would not discipline me because I'm learning now, right now. Okay. So over to you, Marichelle, and say hello to the people of Amazonia who are waiting
Over
to hear
to my patients.
Okay, so now it's over to you, my patients.
Ma Rachel. Who is Ma
Over
Rachel?
to my patients. I have spent my half of my years also answering the name Patience. People call Rachel Patience, Rachel. Some will just, it's not only you, Pastor, since from school days, it's always been like that. So, but
okay,
now
good.
it's
So the
Ma
confusion is
Patience,
from the
Ma
beginning.
Rachel.
That's fine. All right.
Yeah.
I'm comforted. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This is my patience now speaking. I just want to appreciate being on this program, Ethics for an Emerging Nation. It is a great program because when we get to Boya, as the chair of the Ethics Commission has said in one of our outings, the difference between what will make us a great nation and what the current La Republic is ethics. So we need to begin the training process right now. And I want to use this particular moment to appreciate everyone on the home front, ground one, and all over the diaspora watching to us. Hopefully, those in home front will learn something, one or two, as we journey along to Boya. And also this department, the women's department, has to also be ready to implement ethical disciplines so that we grow as a powerful nation, knowing that women are the backbone of every thriving state or nation. Thank you for having us here, Pastor Commando.
Thank you very much, ladies, for coming in. Remember, today we are actually talking on laying the foundation for an emerging ethical department of women and social services. Over the months, we have been dealing with the LGAs and counties, and the last county we dealt with a few was it a few? Yeah, last week to be precise. Last week was Friday but last week, Friday, during our program, we had the Bui County. The Bui County came in and actually spoke in line with other counties that have been coming in. And I perceive that they have not been copying rights. They are talking directly and exactly what they have been doing. But today, we have the Women's and Social Services Department, of which we want to lay the foundation in our interim government. Before we go ahead, thank you. You've greeted the people of the people of Ambazonia. And I've just told you that last week we had Bui and other counties that came in, and they absolutely spoke what I believe is embedded in an average true Ambazonian, and which is the virtues of ethics. That is morality. Now, when we talk of this moral aspect, we are talking about people who are honest, people who are sincere, people who will want to follow that which is truthful and that can be proven, not just people who are manipulated or go by propaganda or go by, it is said that when you are telling a lie, it's very sweet. Not people who want to go with those kind of things. And that's what ethics is actually out to establish. That you should not just go and follow a thing because a number of people are following it, but you should follow something that has been established, which is meant for the good of everybody. And now, today, we are on the ethical foundation that is to be laid, or is being laid, in the departments of which you are heading, the Department of Women and Social Services. Now, before we get into that and I ask you a few questions, I just want to make this announcement that next week, Friday the 22nd, is going to be Boyo, because we skipped some counties because they were not ready, and we brought your department in to buttress and to go ahead with the ethical talks, so we should not leave the weeks unattended to. Now, I have a monologue that I want to share here with us before we get into this, the crux of the whole matter, with the two of you who are present here to represent your department. Ambazonia Liberation Movement is very unique, like I first started saying, compared to other revolutions in the entire world. And their uniqueness is because of the establishment of the institution of Ethics Commission during a time of war. During war, people think that things should be done haphazard and just rush. You can kill your brother and your sister, they say it is war. No. In our revolution, we are systematic and we are practical. And so our fathers had the foresight of the uphill battle we face today to repair the destroyed moral fabric of Ambazonia. Now, what holds a nation together is its moral values. When people are not morally upright, whatever you do, it's not going to stand. But the moral values hold that nation together. Now, La Republic's invasion and occupation of Ambazonia has taken a moral toll on Ambazonia, making moralizing Ambazonia again a task that we all must join together to make it work. Now, we must fight to win in this battle of moralizing our situation, our nation, and our government. The assault on our morality began when La Republique took out civics from our school curriculum. The importance of ethics in a nation cannot be emphasized enough. This is the right time for ethics awareness and campaigns in all tiers of government and communities in the Federal Republic of Ambazonia to be carried out. It was Edmund, Edmund Burke, who said, liberty does not exist in the absence of morality. And that's what we are singing. When you are not ethically upright, you cannot exercise anything that is liberty. Ethics for an Emerging Nation is an educational program to help you with the information and tools you need to moralize your communities and governments. We have discussed topics like template forms for complaints. That is, if you have a complaint, there is a form, there's a template you have to use. We have discussed conflict resolutions, appeals, and we have also financial conflict of interest and disclosure forms. All these things, we are preparing them for our nation, and we don't want to wait until we get in there. Now, topics like ethical leadership and its importance has been discussed elaborately. We have also discussed guidelines for receiving and giving gifts by government employees or to government employees. Misuse of positions has been one of the topics that we have used. The role of the people in upholding ethical standards in the nation, we have talked about that. Now, we've also talked about the role of the church in moralizing the society. We also went ahead to talk about a standard code of conduct for Ambazonians. And of course, we've discussed business ethics, media ethics, sports, cultural ethics, medical, public health ethics. Ambazonians, we encourage you to watch these programs again on ABC Amba TV Facebook page, and of course on the YouTube, and use the information to moralize your communities and governments. If by next year our sovereignty is not yet in our hands, we might call you to come in here and update your departments and your counties on the campaign awareness that is going on right now. Now, we are not fully done with the ethics awareness for other counties, as it is written here, but we've started with the Department of Women Services. After this, we were supposed to go to education, but because Boyo was not actually handled, we'll go to Boyo next week. Then after that, we'll go to the Department of Education. Then we'll go to the DHA department. We'll go to the Department of Foreign Affairs. We'll go to the Department of National Treasury and Department of Finance and Resource Mobilization. Now, all this, we are going to go ahead and ask them to tell us the moral values that they have for the people of Ambazonia. Ambazonia shall be great again by God's grace and mercy. We will live fulfilling lives in our nation. And this is the key. Ethics is the key. Now, I just recap all this so that we can now go ahead, and I'm going to give you both the microphone. You just go ahead and tell us completely what you are doing when it comes to ethics in your department. So I always go with my patience.
No, I will
but
go
let me go
first. I will go first. My patience will go first. I will go first. Commando, this is my patience.
That's my patience.
Okay. Yes, I will go first.
Okay, my patience will go first. Right.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So the way Ma Rachel and I decided to talk about this is that I'm going to address the historical perspective of women issues, and then she's going to come and talk about how it relates to Africa and ASSC 2 and ASSC 1 and 2, and then we'll delve into our department itself, and then discuss other ethical issues from there. So, and then feel free to ask us questions, of course. So I want to begin by looking into the history of International Women's Day and the important women conferences that have led to the integration of women in the socio-political framework of governments all over the world. International Women's Day was first observed in the early 1900s. Women had been oppressed for several years, and because of that, they decided to become vocal by campaigning against what was happening to them. So in 1908, 15,000 women marched in New York City demanding shorter hours and better pay and voting rights. In 1909, the first National Women's Day was observed across the United States. In 1910, a second international conference of working women was held in Copenhagen, and Clara Zetkin, the leader of Working Women's Office from the Social Democratic Party in Germany, tabled the idea of International Women's Day. Subsequently, 100 women from 17 countries met and unanimously approved that International Women's Day be held once every year. And so in 1911, they held the first one after this meeting. From 1913 to 1914, March 8th was agreed to be the day to observe International Women's Day. In 1977, the United Nations General Assembly adopted a resolution proclaiming United Nations Day for Human Rights and International Peace Day. And also in that year, 1975, for the first time, the United Nations started celebrating International Women's Day. From then through to 2000, the new millennium, International Women's Day was not as popular as because the feminism right was becoming very popular. People were not very interested in feminism. 2001, the International Women's Day.com platform was launched to re-energize International Women's Day. And since then, we've observed this day every year. In addition to International Women's Day, there has been 4 major conferences surrounding women. And the reason I'm giving all this history, because it all goes to why why you need a Department of Women's Services and what ethical issues can plague such a department if you don't have the right foundations. So in 1975, the World Conference of the International Women's Year was held in Mexico City from June 2nd to the 19th. And this was a very important conference to set the pace for thinking about women in terms of equality in workplace. So it was centered on equality of women and their contributions to the development of peace and the development of nations. In 1980, the World Conference of the United Nations declared for women equality, development, and peace, held another campaign in Copenhagen from July 14th to the 13th, and that was in 1980. In 1985, the World Conference to review the appraisal and achievement of the United Nations Decade of Women Equality Development was held in Nairobi. And the last conference, which is very popular, that brought about the Beijing Declaration, was held in 1995 in Beijing, of course. And that conference came up with a declaration to adopt unanimous decisions that will affect women in terms of work, gender equality, and work-based empowerment. So it's to this backdrop that I bring this historical perspective, and this overview has led to the Department of Women's Services coming up with policies, which I will address later on. At this point, I would like
Sungina kungarma emwe wiri dembeaduni anini venyendi ngara venkuyena
ask ya. See me hurting, I know if you hide the pain. I did bend my head down cause I did shame. Wondering when the day go bright again. The streets covered up in blood, it's a fail. Devil done the use sweet, slowly it'll kill we. Mommy the looky picking way no day for hella pee. Little kids in the streets faced with tragedy, crying out for help, oh Lord, where the remedy? Bullets in the streets and the drugs then for tear. First it was the boys, right now even the girls. Where do we come for solace, where do we go for help? Do we really sleep when we lay down in a bed? What do we tell the kids when they can't sleep at night? Because they be afraid of waiting with this in life. Nobody is safe anymore. We ain't safe anymore.
Sungina kungarma imwe wiri dembeaduni anini venyendi ngara venkuyena
You have guns so that you protect the streets, but commotion on day now because you kill Pekin. Them it's a mistake. What really is your gain? Oh, you cause with pain. A man is small picking where they carry a soul. It breaks cut up a floor, people the mash and it go. Oh, as a mom, I swear my heart is broken. I don't know who to trust again, even my spirit is broken. We run away from home because it's no longer safe. To hide out in the tears, that is also not safe. Death smelling in the air like it's beasts of no nation. Where is the peace in our love-filled nation? I swear what I don't dry for my eye. And as of now, man don't even know step when he go die. Rest well, little babies, till we meet again. Rest well.
If you have a
on the beat.
Very issue in terms of the Africa, and also in terms of Amazonia itself in the preliminary stages. Over to you, Ma Rachel.
Thank you very much, Ma Patience. Thank you very much, fellow viewers, and thank you to have me again. Yes, this is it is going to be a little bit different because different from what the counties and the LGAs have been doing, because the women's department is the women are comprised of a global factor. They are a global resource to every community, and the foundations that have been laid since the beginning of time to empower women, to sensitize women, and to make the world see the woman from what the world really wants, where the world wants to place the woman, is a little bit tricky. It's tricky here. This is the more reason why we go to history, to let our people know that the women's department in Amazonia, or what we are talking today, is not just a mistake. I'm equally going to run down some historical facts, some research facts coming from magazines and podcasts and all some media outlets that has given us this opportunity to come out. Like, I would just want to start with the fact that the equality of the fundamental rights between women and men is not yet a reality, regardless of the region, regardless in any region of the world. There is no region of the world that has really placed the woman. It it is a work in progress. That's why you see so many conferences still going on, and even with us in Amazonia. But one thing is sure, that when the people decide to work and change their mentality, how they see the woman, everything is going to work. The ethics of whatever they are looking at will fall in place. It is also said that during the 5th anniversary, um, um, the 5th anniversary of the creation of the Pan-African Women Association, UNESCO Director General from 2009 to 2017 declared that the women are the driving force behind small changes of critical importance to their societies and communities. They are advancing the equality of education and access to health care. These are some of the things that the African woman in general, is still fighting, is still advancing. Though some other countries, like the developed countries, have achieved some percentages, the African woman, which the Amazonian woman is equally not left out, is also fighting to access these two things, education and healthcare. They are fighting for their rights and their active participation in political life, and they are promoting peace, reconciliation, justice, and development. Women are essential to a country's or a continent's development, and yet they face a great deal of discrimination and violence because of their gender. This is what the woman faces. So even if we are talking of ethics in Amazonia, the women's department itself cannot not be able to sustain all the values if the community, the country itself, will not work hand in hand to see that what we are outlining here should fall in place. They say the African woman suffers most from gender inequality and marginalization. Yes, the Amazonian woman is not left out. What are the solutions of gender inequality against the girl child and the woman? Significant progress towards gender equality and women's empowerment um, in West Africa is at a critical level. You will look at it looking if we take some of the social aspects, the social discrimination and inequality, we will realize that in social aspects, women experience different forms of violence because of their gender in the social field. Domination by their spouse. There is an article that was given. The I decided to take from the article 444 of the Congo Family Code, which states that the husband is the head of the household. He owes protection to his wife. His wife owes obedience to her husband. In this case, you see that the marriage is discriminatory to the woman, which means that everything the man says, the woman is not even supposed to even say no. She have a voice. Total obedience. That is a code that has been set, given by another country. But look at it. What Ambazonia is looking at. Ambazonia will not, or the women's department, the groundwork we are laying, will not let the Ambazonia woman go through this stress. The woman will share, for example, in marriage, equal rights. Some people will be looking at me and be saying that how come that you are saying that women will share the equal rights? Yes, it is a mental thing. If you begin to think that before I want to build a house, I'll sit my wife down, we'll discuss it. If I want to do something, I will share it with my wife. Then you will know that marriage is partnership. It's just like your private business. You don't take decisions without consulting the partner with whom you share that platform. It is the same thing. But in another sense, it is said that in order to mitigate this discriminatory law that is in that Article 444, there's Article 16 of the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against the Woman, requires states to set a minimum for example, in marriage. If you look at it, a young girl is always given to marriage to old men, to older men. They don't even know. We may say that we are civilized in Amazonia, we are civilized in our country, we don't give young girls in marriage, but it's a call for concern. Some families still secretly practice them. Some families still secretly do those things. Within Amazonia, some culture, they still do them. If you don't experience it, there are some that are experiencing, and you see those young girls go to that marriage, and this is how they suffer. So there says some report states that about 20 countries in Africa, um, um, their civil code do not respect this obligation, this elimination, this convention on the elimination of all forms of discrimination. Because you give a young girl at 12, at 8, at 9, at 15, already in marriage to somebody, the child does not know. You know, these are some of the things that we are saying in the Amazonia that we are working at. We will look at all these communities, all these things will be exposed so that the girl child or the woman should be able to have a say when it comes to major decisions in their life. They say in West Africa, 44% of women aged 20 to 24 were married before the ages of 15, according to UNICEF. And 2 out of 3 are married to men that they do not know. So they say this as a result, it is because of some of the social norms and traditions to marry someone's daughter. No, it is all this tradition, norms. Where do you put the fundamental rights of a human being because of some of the traditions that we have caved for ourselves? By so doing, we are going to see facts that we are going to, the women's parliament is going to examine the fact whether norms and traditions are going to really override uh, um, um, rights, human rights, a woman's rights to the woman's body and her decision. By so doing, there's also this stigmatization that is with the woman in the social sphere, where they say, for example, having a child out of wedlock. Some people will say, picking, they don't just the bonbon picking the now, picking the born picking anyhow. So that one not be shame again. But then in some places, when you see a girl child already having a child out of wedlock, they will be terming you like an outcast. If you do not experience it, it doesn't mean that it is not operational. It is very operational, because when a young girl goes ahead and have a child, they'll be telling you, you be used cargo. This is a psychological trauma that they are already giving to a girl child, and positioning her in a place. And most times the girl's education is interrupted. The child can no longer feel secure the brothers or the uncles will be toasting her here and there because of one or two reasons. But what is the women's department going to do? We are going to see that even though we will not be advocating that girls should find themselves in this difficult condition at a young age or before marriage, but we will try our best to ensure that even when such a things happen, the girl child will not be looked low upon. It will not be looked low upon. Um, um, the Amazonian girl child, they will be protected. Laws will be put in place that the girl child shall be protected. There will be centers for education for adolescent girls, and our school curriculums shall incorporate these factors as well, that the child will not be abandoned, and there will be situations where even after the child, I would certainly say that there will be social welfare that will be provided for such a child. Maybe the child, there will be faces for free adoption, or we will know what could be done in such a situation. But to jeopardize the life and the social growth of the young mother and the child by stigmatizing them as outcasts, it will not be in the place of the Amazonia that we are looking for. We know that some people will say, how are you going to control it? But when a human being, when we want something, we work towards it and we get it. And the Amazonia we are working towards is going to be that one that those moral values, nobody will be looked down as an outcast or be insulted. Of course, there will equally be laws that when all those despicable things that people say when something has happened to somebody, people start saying what they want to say. We are going to make sure that we work towards this and let people feel socially secured. Healthcare and social welfare will be provided for such and in such cases. So sometimes they say the girl child will not go to school because because she's pregnant, she's giving birth. Yeah, there'll be free adoption, the child support, which most people enjoy in the Western world, the child support. There's this thing. I know that Amazonia has the resources that we will be able to take one-on-one and look at these cases. Of course, we do need the children, most especially now that we will be going to a post-war Amazonia and nation building. He said the girl child will be encouraged as the boy child to be at school, as to cover up the 7 points gap as of the World Bank reports that says 97% to 92. You see, education to the girl child will be a predominant concern in Amazonia, considering the setback the war has caused us, our people. Uh, our girl child will have the potential to be developed so that they can manage their own, they'll be able to manage their own resources. They'll be able to manage their affairs and be equally in the economic and political spheres. Nothing is going to, World Bank has already said it, that the African woman is being, the girl child is being cheated in one way or the other, not being sent to school. I know some people will say, yes, we are all girls, our father sent us to school, but that is the case in your own individual household. About 72% of all other cases is not as yours. So these are the small details that we are going to pick them and make sure that Amazonia stands on a platform to give a moral value to their own people. And by so doing, the woman will be economically empowered. Because if you look at it now in the world, women are discriminated economically, and many are still not free. They cannot empower themselves. There are many obstacles to women's participation in the economic affairs. If you look at it critically, most women in the rural areas, what do? They are based with local agricultural businesses, or buy and sell them, or all those things. And mainly because of the difference between the man and the woman. Some things they will say the woman will not go and do this, the man should it is for the man. You take in your compound, they say women cannot have livestock, women cannot have goats, they cannot have pigs, they cannot have cow. You can't keep those things. Just go and plant your njama and be taken care of. And if you look at it critically, how much will a njama and pepper and okra and cassava give compared to this? Woman does not have coffee, woman does not have cocoa farm. So all these things, these are laws. Laws will be put in the Amazonia that a woman and a girl child is capable enough and should be apportioned some of these rights so that the economic power or the potency should be balanced. This is why I say women represent 70% of the active population in the agricultural sector. They still remain at the bottom of this, despite the fact that they work very hard and in difficult conditions. The mother will go very far just to go and get a bunch of plantains. How much? But then, this is why the UNDP report states that the total annual economic loss caused by the gender gap in sub-Saharan Africa is about 105 billion. This record came between 2010 and 2014. Sub-Saharan Africa, Amazonia is in this sub-African. So if we are looking at the Amazonia that we are vying for, we'll begin to think how we are going to subsidize the farming that women do, the importance that we are going to lay on the crops that the woman, where they say this one a woman in crop, this one a woman in business, so that the Amazonia should not lose out of this billion, because it is reported that because of this disparity between the man and the woman, this major population of women who make up about 50 to 60% of the world, we lost this power because we undermine the women and we don't give them the opportunity to also excel or to show what they can do. This shows that Africa is losing or missing out of its full grown potential because a considerable portion of its growth pool, women, are not incorporated in state development. Amazonians shall ameliorate itself by using, they will ameliorate this. We already know, that's why we go and get the details, so that our morals, our ethics will let us understand that we have to let the woman and the girl child function in the same capacity. We go further to say it is also recorded that women than men are vulnerable employment and work mostly in informal sector. Most of the times, women, most working class women or women who've gone to school, like some of us, we say, no, but I know they do, and they work for high position. I don't know, but now you one. If you look in your community or your small quarter where you come out from your village, or you look in your small local government area where you come from, how many women are in the same position like you? What are you doing? So these are the things that we are going to see, that if we want to call out whatever thing any woman is doing, it will be taken into perspective, it will be taken into consideration, so that we are not left out. The woman is not left out. Amazonia, we should be keeping these figures. We should know that don't look at only yourself, look at the community where we come from. The reports in 2010 equally say 65.4% of non-agricultural jobs in the informal sector are held by women with lack of social protection, making them very vulnerable. No social security, nobody records the farm, there is no cooperative, there is no there used to be marketing board. There is no system that really registers women all over. But Amazonians, we are saying that because of the moral values, the ethical values that we will place on what everybody does to be taken account and be recorded in our GDP, we are going to see that whether you are selling okra, you'll be able to be accountable for, you'll be able to pay your taxes, because the economic section is going to know how to place values upon whatever goods and products that we will be having, so that this gap that the world or sub um, Saharan countries are facing, Amazonia will not be left. We not learn from other people's mistakes. So we, as an emerging nation, we are going to learn from some of these things. And it says the Amazonian Women's Department shall ensure that all working sectors be covered through social insurance policy or otherwise. We are going to work in collaboration with the finance department. We are going to work in collaboration with all the forces and the rooms that we see that the woman and the girl child is not left out in what they are doing. And in their politics, we see that when it comes to political equalities, the situation is not different from most of them. Look at it critically. They say 24% of seats in national parliament were held by women. However, since the year 2000, the figures have changed from 12% to 19% in 2010. Women are barely under represented in ministries and other legislative and executive bodies all over the world. It is not only in Africa, it's all over the world. But then we are not giving up. And the nation comes out and sets the pace and sets the example. This is why you see some countries do stand out with women in the sector. Look at Rwanda. Rwanda's government has more than it has 61.3% in their parliament. They have 63.1% women. Women are in that parliament in Rwanda. That is a pace setter. In Ethiopia, you have 47.6% of women representatives in their government. Mozambique is the first country to have the first country to have yeah, I mixed up there. Yeah. Even as most countries are recording micro advances with the women's participation and representation in the government, Ambazonia will be an example. I know that Ambazonia will not be left out. The moral codes that this women department, the platform that we are already laying, we may not read everything here today, but we pray that by the time we'll be getting there, the woman, the Ambazonian woman will one day say, yes, thank you for my four mothers who stood up for us. And this is why we say, we also see that as we record the first woman, if you look at our house, if you look at all around, we, Ambazonia, this 55th new nation, is that nation that has its first house speaker to be the woman, and several other women in positions, remarkable, honorable positions in the government. And I want to say that by the time we are born with emergency, this nation, the ethical code will be that we will beat Rwanda the way we will beat Rwanda to have about 80% representation. Men, don't tell me that I'm just joking. Brothers, fathers, don't say that. Why is she saying like that? Are they planning to take over us? No, we are not planning to take over. It's just that the girl child, your daughter, your daughter has suddenly known that she can also be part of this nation building, and she wants to help you, daddy and brothers, to build it. That you should maybe rest a little bit, let the sisters come up, and let's see what we can give to you. Pastor Commando, don't laugh too much, because this is just what it is going to be. So we are still in a fight to solve this social, economic, and political inequalities. Demands a change of mentality. Really, we need change of mentality. You may be laughing like that. You have not changed your mentality. Start changing your mentality. Everyone should start changing their mentality. Say, where is marriage? why are they coming to say this? Yes, if until we change our mentality to say, yes, but I went to medical schools, the
Ma
girls were
Rachel,
there.
I don't know how much
They
time
beat
we
them.
have. How much time do we have on
Yeah,
the show, Mr. Commando?
No, we actually have time. We actually have time. I think
yeah,
we can just go on and go on and go on. But
Okay.
what
So
I'm
I
laughing,
have
yeah.
to,
Let
Mara,
me. I am
yeah.
just.
okay,
I am just on the last statement to
uh,
say to
okay,
achieve this, the whole society must become aware of the
mm,
importance of valuing the status of women. They should, the whole society should come to the importance of valuing the status of women and question their practices against women. Because when they say the woman is a weaker sex, but they equally say what a man can do, a woman can do it and even do it better. So some of the references came from UNESCO, from UNICEF, from the support communities in the UNDP report and everything. So they are not just my own ideas, though we develop them in reference to our small portion that we have. And as I'm still going to just use the last 5 minutes to say, the Department of Women's Services that was born in 2019 in our first ASSC 2 in Berlin, ASSC 1 in Berlin, um, has done a lot. If many women are listening to me, we've done micro projects all across the west coast of Africa where we have our women scattered. Yes, we have not been able to reach every woman that we would have loved to. The resources are still very limited. And without any excuse or as an advantage to say we couldn't, we all know what our monies have been stuck somewhere, blocked somewhere, but we are getting there. That is why we are appealing that anytime you are called up to support an effort in the women's department, please do so because this goes towards projects for women, for the girl child, for the orphans, and what have you. And to crown it all up, the women's department for the Federal Republic of Ambazonia was inscribed in the Ambazonian Constitution during the ASSC 2 that recently took place in Washington, D.C. in March 2022. So there are a lot of things that we are doing. And if it comes to the structure, how the Women Department sees itself to be structured, we will work from federal level to regional levels to county levels to LGA levels and and right down to the grassroots to village level to make sure that every woman is represented. And so we'll be working from bottom up. And as of the fine ethical principles that we are going to insert, we are going to outline for our men and our women within Amazonia. I believe that in the due course we are going to be discussing them. But as of now, let's begin to think how Amazonia will work in respect from the world to Africa and to its specifics as a nation, as Amazonia, so that the fine values that we have out there that we have already had in all the other visitations from LGS and county know that the women's department is not an exception when it comes to human resources, to sponsoring programs and all those things. We are going to have them and put them in place. I will just yield for now, and if there's any other thing, I will equally come in to give the fine details. Thank you very much, Pastor Commando, and my patience.
before my
Thank
patience
you.
comes in, my patient, can I just say a word
Yes,
before you come in, please?
certainly.
Yes, I was laughing profoundly and profusely because Ma Rachel was touching on some areas that are appealing to some men. But one man wrote a comment here, which I want to read. I've not been reading comments, but when I saw this comment, I said, no, I'm going to read this comment. He says that man was made to suffer and the woman was made to feel the pain. So it made me laugh aloud. And what I think Ma Rachel is saying is very great. Ambazonia will beat Rwanda. I am an advocate for women, for your information. So when I hear women talking, that's why I'm really appealing to the two of you. Please get me a lady, a woman who will join me in history to tell the history of Ambazonia. Because if you are just talking about some of these ethical things and we don't have an Ambazonian woman who can talk about the history of Ambazonia, then I think that we will cut you short in some of the things that you are going out for. So we'll cut the woman short when it comes to the history. So as the time goes on, we are building, we would like to have a woman come in and then tell us, talk to us about our history. Meanwhile, somebody said, and I support and I believe in it, the woman is not less than a man, in the sense that they are made equal before the Almighty God. But the point is, God just chose the man to be the captain. Just like in every society, you know, when you put two captains to pilot the flight without the chief captain, there will be confusion. And so the woman is not in any way less than a man, like a number of people have been trying to stipulate or speculate. You know, a woman is not less than a man. It's just those who don't know our origin, who believe that man is a higher mammal, of which I don't agree. Man is not a mammal. Man is not an animal. Man is created in the image of God, and God made them male and female. So, Ma Rachel, thank you very much. We cross over to Ma Patience now to go ahead and then give us your take as we plan for these ethical values and growth in our social women and social department of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Now, women touch all the counties. So when you are saying anything out of the counties, I agree with you 100%, because women are coming from all the counties and you should talk globally for all the counties. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. The expansive portrayal of what our department will look like. I just want to give some specifics in terms of the background. The Universal Declaration on Human Rights, some of these articles are important to incorporate when we talk about ethics. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood. That's number one, Article 1 of the Universal Declaration on Human Rights. Article 2 says that everyone is entitled to the rights and freedoms set forth in this declaration without distinction of any kind, such as race, color, sex, language, religion, political, or other opinion, national and social origin, property, birth, and other status. So really we're focusing on sex, male or female. We are all equal. And Pastor Commando, to support what you just said, there's another saying that the man is the head and the woman is the neck. And if you think about that, the man being the head and the woman being the neck, then the woman somehow probably has more power over the man, because the head goes wherever the neck turns. But I digressed. Article 1, there was another thing that was very important in terms of laying policies for departments. There's this very important United Nations Human Rights Convention on the elimination of all forms of discrimination against women, called CEDAW, that was entered into force in September 3, 1981. So I'll briefly read it because it's very important. Then I'll go to the blueprint of the Department of Women's Services. So this article states that state parties shall take all appropriate measures to eliminate discrimination against women in the field of employment in order to ensure, on a basis of equality of men and women, the same rights, in particular, the right to work as an inalienable right of all human beings. B, the right to the same employment opportunities, including the application of the same criteria for selection in matters of employment. And this, I'm going to expound on this when we start talking about gender mainstreaming and ethics. C, the right to free choice of profession and employment, the right to promote job security and all benefits and conditions of services, and the right to receive vocational training and retraining, including apprenticeship, advanced vocational training, and recurring training. D, the right to equal remuneration, including benefits, and to equal treatment in respect to work of equal value, as well as equality of treatment in the evaluation of the quality of work. And this is a problem because even in the United States, you have the case that men, for the same work that is done by a man and a woman, the man gets paid more than the woman. So the man may get paid $1, the woman gets paid 71 cents. The right to social security, particularly in cases of retirement, unemployment, sickness, invalidity, and old age, and other incapacity to work, as well as the right to paid leave. The right to protection of health and to safety in working conditions, including the safeguarding of the function of reproduction. In order to prevent discrimination against women on the grounds of marriage or maternity, and to ensure their effective right to work, state parties shall take appropriate measures to prohibit subjects to the imposition of sanctions, dismissals on the grounds of pregnancy or maternity leave, and discrimination in dismissals on the basis of marital status. To introduce maternal leave with pay or with comparable social benefits without loss of former employment, seniority, and social allowances. And C, to encourage the provision of the necessary supporting social services to enable parents to combine family obligations with work responsibilities and participation in public life, in particular through promoting the establishment and development of a network of childcare facilities. D, to provide special protection to women during pregnancy in types of work proved to be harmful to them. And finally, protective legislation relating to matters covered in this article shall be reviewed periodically in the light of scientific and technological knowledge and be revised to appeal and shall be revised, repealed, or extended as necessary. So these are points in the United Nations Rights Convention of the elimination of all forms of discrimination against women. So when they are doing things and specifying women, it all goes back to the history because most societies are patriarchal in nature, where the man, as Pastor Commander said, are always the leaders. In most organizations, you have men as the leaders. In most job setting, you have men as the leaders. But we are hoping that Ambazonia will be one that will see the man and the woman as equal and look them based on their expertise and their knowledge and what they can bring on the table. So with that said, I just want to read briefly which I'm sure you've heard over and over on this show, a simple definition of ethics. Ethics, also called moral philosophy, is the discipline concerned with what is morally good and bad and morally right and wrong. So the blueprints of the Department of Women's Services of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, based on everything we've heard, has a vision and a mission. So the vision is to appreciate and embrace a nation where the welfare and socioeconomic potential of women are nurtured and gender equality is promoted. When people hear the phrase gender equality, some men that are chauvinistic may not like that expression, but we're hoping are liberal, educated, and should welcome the idea that in general, if a woman is willing to do what a man does and is able to do it, then she should be appreciated for that. The mission is to build a nation with women included in the socio-economic powerhouse, free of gender bias, ensuring gender equality. So when we have this mission and vision, then ethics is very important, because there will be times that the lines are crossed, and we follow the ethical guidelines that we have to make sure that perpetrators are put to book or to order. So the Department of Women's Service is a government department responsible for the welfare of women in Ambazonia. It will promote the development of women with equal rights and corresponding responsibilities. The main objectives will include stimulating actions to promote civic, political, social, and economic participation of women, coordinating and monitoring women's programs, providing technical and financial support to women NGOs. It will also review substantive and procedural laws that affect women, which is what I just said. Because if there's a law out there in Ambazonia that is discriminatory inadvertently towards women, the department will have to look into it and make correct proceedings to correct it. The department will also provide literacy and health programs for women and children. Some key areas of focus, especially for women and children, will be to eliminate stigma and discrimination, especially when it comes to those who have disabilities. To set up strategic advocacy projects to combat social challenges and stigma and stereotypes. Inclusive education, again, especially for women and those and children with disability. And we've already talked about economic empowerment to strengthen women in programs that will promote them economically so that the woman can be able to take care of their own affairs. Now, I'm going to move over to hone on how ethics plays a part in all of this. I'm going to talk on two things, and Rachel will talk on two things. I just want to say that the women's department, based on the blueprint that we have, focus on four main areas: gender mainstreaming, empowerment, gender-based violence, which Rachel has alluded to some of them, and governance. When we talk about gender mainstreaming, first of all, what is gender mainstreaming? I want to briefly define what gender mainstreaming is. It is a strategy to improve the quality of public policies, programs, and projects, ensuring a more efficient allocation of resources. Better results mean increased well-being for both men and women, and the creation of a more socially just and sustainable society. So that's the brief meaning of gender mainstreaming. So how does that apply to ethics? Ethically, if we have situations where somebody is not following gender mainstreaming properly, and you have cases where a woman cannot be employed because she's a woman, even though she's qualified, or if she's employed, things are done in her job to frustrate her so that she has to leave. These are all ethical issues that we are hoping that where standards will be put, policies will be put in place so that the woman has the right to reach out to a body that will examine her case and stop whatever unjust process is being put on her. Gender mainstreaming also gives women the right to be able to stand toe to toe, in the sense that not saying that they are equal to men. We know that men physically are the stronger sex, but in terms of intelligence or technical knowledge, so that our Amazonian women will not be afraid. If they have this education in schools, we start teaching our children that whatever a boy child can do, a girl child can do. Then as they grow, the sons, our sons, start embracing their sisters or the women in their lives as equals. So it starts from that very foundation. But if you train a child to feel that the boys or the men are superior to women, then you create a society where, in the long run, when it comes to them fulfilling their passion in life, the man will always be taken superior over the woman. I would want it to be a case where, if two people were applying for a job and they go to, let's say they're applying to be a pilot, let's use that example, and the man is qualified and the woman is more qualified, the man should not be taken over the woman simply because he's a man. The woman should be able to be given that job. If the woman is less qualified, of course, the job should go to the man. We don't want a case where you'll do bias based on the fact that you just want to employ a woman, even though the man is qualified. So these are all things that have to do with gender mainstreaming and ethics. In terms of empowerment, we already said that ensuring that women control their economic future through financial opportunities and access is very important. In terms of the Amazonia we are fighting for, we want to teach the men in our country that they should be proud of women that are able to bring, let's say, money more than the husband. In the United States of America, you have a lot of household where the main breadwinner is the woman. And sometimes you have cases where the husband stays home and prepares the meal. It should be something that we train our Amazonian families to not find as a taboo. If the woman, for whatever reason, God has given her the brains and the knowledge to be able to excel more than the person that she finally has as a life partner, don't deprive her of those potentials simply because she's a woman. And that's what we're talking about, empowering every girl, child, every woman to be able to live to the best potential that God has given them. And you talk about ethics, Dr. Commando talked about it earlier. You're talking about doing the right thing. You're talking about being honest. You're talking about being moral. You're talking about being principled, courageous. All those attributes help in the field when you want to find out if people have the values or the character or the integrity to be able to respond to situations that are not not right. People in this environment should be able to blow the whistle. In corporate America, you have in different businesses where you have people blowing the whistle because maybe a woman is maltreated or not regarded in high esteem. We should embrace all that. And so without going much further, I'm going to stop here for Rachel to add one or two things. Thank you.
Yeah. sorry, before Ma Rachel comes in, I would just want to announce to us that we have 16 minutes more to call it off in this program. And I have a questionnaire for the two of you before we call it quit. So if Ma Rachel should go in and give us a summary and get ready for the questionnaire, we would very much appreciate your contributions and your lessons for this particular subject matter. Over to you, Ma Patience. I mean, Rachel, sorry.
Muted.
I'm still trying to make the mistake.
You're muted.
Yeah, thank you again, Pastor Commando. This is just to sum everything up that we have said. I just want to allude to a very pertinent situation that everybody used to say, oh, I love this country. We can take from the style of governance and everything. You know, in 2015, the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, he formed the first gender balanced cabinet. And within that time up to now, the country used to be the 20th position in the world. But because of the women in cabinet, that equity and diversity and inclusion was the theme behind his decision for building such a government and a cabinet. And another motto behind it was more women in power, less death. So, because then, with women in power, there was promotion, population health promotion. The population grew healthy at work, all this mobbing, all this attack at work, insults of women, discrimination and everything. With women in the cabinet and in different positions, they were able to stretch out their hands and reach almost all of the government parastatals. And the well-being, people were healthier coming to work. Husbands were healthier coming to work because women were also happy at home and at work. So there is the representation and there is the magical click to say that where women are taking some decisions, it always works well. So the appeal is that it is not that the women wants to override the men in Amazonia, but if you and I come to agreement to say this is how we will want our country to function, irrespective of, regardless of, nobody is taking the man's position, no day, no time. A man is a man, a woman is a woman, but there are some socio-economical, political things that if we all agree and we stand by the law of equity and justice, then we will all build a healthier nation, a very healthy nation for everyone. So thank you.
Oh, that's it. Thank you very much for being that brief. I want to say that there is a notion out there about women, and nobody can change that notion apart from the women themselves. And so we are believing that Ambazonia is standing out. Don't mind this, I don't know what name to call them. My Secretary of State, my boss calls them idiots, which means they are self-centered. Everything is only around them and them and them and them and them. I never actually knew the meaning of idiot, but when I got it from him, I became very, very apprehensive. So somebody comes up and says that Amazonia is abstract. The independence of Amazonia is abstract. And the following day, he gets up again to say that the capital of Amazonia is moved from here to there. Meanwhile, that Amazonia and the independence is abstract. How do you read that kind of a language? Now, ethically speaking, it's not what we are in for. Anyway, I just brought that one to say that we are anticipating and really believing that the women in our governance will make things very, very plausible, especially women that are ethically upright. As you have been saying it, I will not want to go into any much comment. But what I want to find out from you, if you permit me, we'll go into our questionnaire now. This is the questions we ask everybody that comes into talk about the ethical, laying the foundation for their ethical department. And you, from the from the Women and Social Department of the Federal Republic of Amazonia, we want to also throw these questions to you. Number one, do you have or do you intend to have an ethics committee in your department? Do you have or do you intend to have an ethics committee in your department?
Currently, we do not have an ethics committee. We do not have an ethics committee in our department. However, in building the policies that we're still working on, we'll have some moral guidelines. There's a slight difference between ethics and morality. So we'll have some moral guidelines, which is basically what helps prevent certain things from taking place.
Okay. Now, question number two that we normally ask is, do you have a copy of the Ambazonia Code of Ethics in your department?
Well, that is no. We have the Constitution.
Yeah, the Constitution is question number 4, but then there is a code of conduct, a code of ethics, a code of ethics that we actually, the ethics department, the ethics commission has actually put it down for all the counties, LGAs, and departments to actually have in order to be able to, do you have that yet? Not yet.
No, we don't.
All right. Okay. The next question we want to find out from you is if you have, okay, you say you don't have an ethics committee, so you definitely does not have an ethics representative in the ethics commission, in the enlarged ethics commission. That one, I don't need to ask that because your first answer is a proof. Now, the next one was to ask the question which you have just answered. Do you have a copy of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Amazonia? You've already answered
yes, we
that.
do.
You can go ahead.
Yes.
Oh, you do have that.
We have a copy of the Constitution, yeah.
All right. I think with that, we have 8 more minutes. If you have any other thing that you can add to what you have all spoken, then we'll call it quit for today. The microphone is all yours.
Okay, I just wanted to add something, a couple of things, in the sense that when we talked about planning our what the department would look like, we mentioned about gender mainstreaming empowerment. There were some 2 other important things that are part of this, gender-based violence and governance. So gender-based violence is protecting the basic human rights of women and girls from physical, emotional, and sexual abuse. This is very, very important. Rachel did explain quite a bit of it, but I just want to make sure that they understand that it's in our policy because there are different types of abuses. There's workplace abuses, and there's also abuse in the home. And there's something that is very common in the Cameroon that we left, that people don't talk about it that much. We hope that it's not going to be something that we experience in Amazonia. And it has to do with incest of family members raping young girls. That is something that we have to start teaching our children, and making this department have a special branch for women to feel comfortable, or for kids to feel comfortable to come report circumstances where they find themselves, where a father or an uncle or an older brother or relative that is visiting abuses our young girls or boys. This is extremely important, and everything starts with education. And one thing also, in terms of workplace violence, physical abuse, we know a lot of cases where people really use their fist to slap or kick or or hit somebody. We will be frowning on that extremely, and we're hoping that working with the judiciary system, those people will be booked accordingly. And then in terms of governance, it has to do with presence in diverse public sectors as leaders in building strong political representative and decision-making system. So women should be found or should be expected to thrive in every sector in our Amazonia, both private and public, and all the arms of government. Women should be welcomed. It's not a matter of the man giving the woman permission to do something. It's a matter of thinking about the articles in the United Nations declarations that say we are all equal, and that whatever a man can do, a woman can do, and that it should not be something that men should despise, but they should be very, very much they should very much embrace that concept. So I end here and thank the department, the ethics department, for inviting us for this topic, ethics in an emerging nation. And one more thing that I remember, this may be just something in general. It's going to be very important to educate our people back home. And this education has started now. Let me give you an example. Right now, you have people, you want to leave one town, and I'm probably diverting from the women's department, but it's something that is important, and it may go across all departments. If you have somebody...
Okay, let me come in with something before we give a general announcement. Let's not...
Let me just finish your point I was making. Let me just finish this point. You have somebody leaving one town to another town, and there are stop signs where they are collecting bribes. We need to start teaching our people somehow that is wrong, so that it will start from the head, go down to the bottom. So in all the facets that we have in Amazonia, education, it will be the key for this ethical Amazonia that we're building. Thank you so much for having us here today.
Thank you.
Yeah, and before we will finally close, I just want to say that the women's department have really been working very hard, and we've been writing letters. There is a letter that we sent into the defunct Restoration Council, and we would like to appeal that this letter should be brought up and be read and be worked upon. I want to look at it in the sense that more women are now sitting in the interim House of Representatives, and we have a woman sitting at the helm of the interim House of Representatives at this time. It is a call for concern. The moment we start doing things as we are still in the making of our nation, some of these things should be discussed in the interim house so that people start getting acquainted with them. They start getting versed with them. So when we are talking them, when our nation is here, it will not be as if they are trying to push a bitter pill down the throat to the people. And also to say that by the time we'll be doing some kind of constitutional amendment, some of these laws should already be written in our constitution. The interim house should start discussing them and passing them as bills, sending them to the executive so that it could be signed like some laws, so that people begin to get used to it. Please, because what you don't start when you are young, to get old when you get old, it will be difficult. So by the time we start knowing them that we are up to this is what we want to have in an emerging nation. When we emerge at that nation, then we will know what to do. Interim House, please, I call upon you. The Women's Department call upon you. We have that letter. We will certainly still send it to you so that we took time to work on that letter. So we will certainly send it again to you, and every House of Representative listening to me from your LGA, please ask during your session that during the Ethics Commission, the women appeal that they'll be sending a letter. Look up to it if that letter has come, so that we will know what is accepted as law or what is tolerable in Ambazonia or not. So we can also take them to our LGA so we flow from bottom up. So that was just what I want to say. Thank you very much. Thank you, Pastor Commando, for having us here to speak on our emerging nation. We could talk to you tomorrow because there are so many things to be put in place
I
or what
know.
we wish to say there. Yeah.
I know the two
Thank
of
you
you.
very much.
I know the two of you. Thank you very much for accepting this call to come and educate our people on the services and especially on this aspect of ethics in your department. And we've listened to the lectures and what you have said. We are looking forward to to having the action being carried out even while we are still in this transit period. Just like the last statement you have made, when you are young, I don't change some certain attitudes. At the end of the day, when you become an adult, those attitudes, when they try to change them, you'll be broken. You'll not be able to do it. So right now, while we are still planning and building our nation, we are sounding this to everyone. What Patience, Rachel has just said. That about concerning the bribery and corruption posts that are in the country, in the southern Cameroons in those days, it was not there until this corruption came in. So we have restored the southern days. I mean, the days of the former British Southern Cameroons, and we are getting right back to those days where all these values are going to be put in place. And I want to thank all of you for coming in and making it very clear that in the developing nation in which we are, women have a big role to play. Men have been very scared of women in the past years because women were given a very bad name to be, they make a lot of trouble. But today, we are discovering that these particular women, when they sit down with their cool heads, they are able to really arrange things and put them in place. And sometimes I tell people, look at the way the woman organizes her house. Then if you give her the opportunity, she can organize us in our political and other systems that we are going into. Once again, the Ethics Commission and the chair lady for the Ethics Commission wants to thank your department for coming in to make this one very clear to our people. And on that note, we tell the Ambazonian people till next week, stay tuned to ABC, and don't forget, tomorrow is the beginning of beginnings, the day of the draft that is starting off for this year 2022. I would like to see you there in Mezam County to support the draft that is beginning tomorrow. God bless you and have a wonderful evening, wonderful morning, wonderful afternoon, whatever time you are. Thank you.
Thank you.
Restore our cultural and social values that characterize us as a people of good repute. Before our Republic declaring invasion, we were respectful of each other, of the law, and of our culture. We earned our living through honest hard work, making clean money for ourselves.
Our values helped us to maximize the benefits of our natural resources as well as our human resources. Southern Cameroons were serene and clean, simply beautiful in spirit and in the physical. We all long for such a place to call home, and we can make it happen by God's grace.
Our local government areas and counties, are you preparing? Do you have an ethics commission in your local government areas, counties to serve as the moral compass for you? Do you have a copy of the Amazonia Ethics Code and the Constitution?
All arms of government, do you have an ethics agency? Departments of DSS, HSS, Communications and IT, Education, DHACM, DFA, and DEINR. Do you have ethics agency to serve as a moral compass for your department?
Amazonians, you need to know your rights by reading the Ethics Code and the Constitution.
Shame unethical behavior and reward good behavior in your communities. Hold leaders accountable. Be the watchdog of your communities and governments. See something, say something.
The church, you are the main research center of moral principles with the responsibility of moralizing the society. How effective are you outside the church building?
Maya Angelou said, when you know better, then you do better. Ambazonians watch ethics for an emerging Amazonia every Friday at 10 p.m. Amber time.
Exclusively on ABC Amber TV. Stay tuned.
There are disruptive changes sweeping across the world because of the fourth industrial revolution and rapid technological advances. There are jobs that do not yet exist and knowledge and skills that are not yet available in the curricula of many universities. We'll have to reimagine new models of learning and adjust the way we teach and learn.
From the equilibrium law, we can write that the concentration of OH minus times the concentration
This is phosphorus, this is carbon. You're going cold now.
Yes.
Professor Lowe loves diamond and gold.
We build software, build solutions to actually help our customers be more efficient as well.
We aim to be a leading global university that inspires and innovates for positive societal impact.
身体觉得好吗？
As the national university, NUS intends to be